gentlemen, it's another fun-filled episode of the Cleveland Moto Podcast. Open them up, boys. Tonight's delicious libation brought to us by the wonderful folks over at Market Garden Brewery. This is their Lemon Shandy. And brought tonight by our friend...
Mr. Chris Smith.
Excellent. And Chris Smith, tell us a little bit about Cleveland's very own Market Garden Brewery.
So, run by Andy Tvikram is the brewmaster over there, a former, he's a current member of the SNOBs, the Society of Northeast Ohio Brewers, which is a local Cleveland brew club. And he has been the brewmaster over there for, I think, 10 years. A very accomplished brewer. And Andy Tvikram allowed a bunch of us from the brew club to come over and do what's called a collaboration brew. So we get to brew on his system. So everybody showed up. What do you want to brew? What do you want to brew? And people were saying IPAs and this and that and something else. I said, well, we should brew a Pilsner, and then you can shandy it out afterwards. And so we ended up brewing the Pilsner, which was delicious in and of itself. And then about a year later, Andy ended up shandying these things out. So I take a little bit of credit for planting the seed. In with Andy. So during the Rona here, I've been stopping down there every week or every other week, trying to pick up a case or so direct from the brew house of his lemon shandy. So
what does shandying it out mean? Like, what is
to shandy a beer means to throw lemonade in it, basically. So it's a lemon shandy. So Germans will do radlers. A lot of times they'll use like a grapefruit juice or an orange juice. So it thins it out a little bit, but gives it a kind of a summery flavor. And there's not many breweries that'll do shandies. Hansa will do Gosas, which are kind of the same kind of thing.
The idea behind a radler was, for Germans, they ride bikes everywhere. So the bicycling thing is alive and well in Germany. And in fact, weird thing, but our not so derogatory term for Germans when I lived there in the 80s, as the occupying military force, we would refer to the Deutsche Bundesvolk. You know, instead of calling them the Germans, because we're in their fucking country, we call them rads. And I don't know if other people that were deployed in Europe, other American soldiers, maybe during the Vietnam era, and certainly now, I don't know if they still call them rads, but nobody told me to call them rads except for everybody around me. So we were driving down the road and this rad steps out in traffic. What the fuck, you know? Rad used in a sentence. And the reason we called them rads is because to Germans, Fahrrad is a bicycle. Motorrad is a motorcycle. And so because the Germans have bicycles everywhere and they ride bicycles everywhere, there's this whole like Fahrrad, like Fahrradzone and Radazone. And so we just started calling Germans rads, like rods. And it was the dumbest thing. And my brain that spoke German when I went there, you know, high school type German, did not put two and two together that the reason they were being called rads was not just like, dude, that's rad. No, it was because they're the preponderance of bicycles. And the German beverage of choice when you're riding your bicycle is a radler. So it's half as much alcohol. So the alcohol is knocked down and the fruit flavors are put up so that beer is exactly what you need when you're riding a bicycle.
See, I just learned something though. I never knew. I thought you had to brew a shandy a different way to make it like that. I didn't know it was a mixture. So that's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. And like they also do the Cuba Libres and stuff. That's another thing of taking like a beer and a Coke and putting it together.
So did they make the lemonade too, or did they buy lemonade and add it to this? Do you know?
Pardon me?
Did they make the lemonade too, or did they buy a commercial lemonade and add it to the...
I don't think they buy a commercial lemonade.
I'll tell you, this tastes...
But the truth of the matter is, I don't know.
This tastes thick.
Ask him.
And when Chris said, is it too sweet? And I went, yes, it's perfect.
Yeah. And it's 4.5%. Usually shandies are like a 3.
And the Leinenkugel summer shandy tastes like, pool water compared to this. This tastes fantastic.
This is like a lemonade with a sort of beer aftertaste. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Perfect summer beer.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chris. And to his left.
No worries.
Oscar.
It's been a while.
I know.
My God, man. It has been a while.
I've been MIA.
We've been checking trunks.
I'm still working from home.
Yeah.
Just being isolated, I guess.
How's the Japanese lessons going?
Still going.
Yeah.
Still going now. I have 3 apps. So I'm doing Duolingo.
Yeah.
Another one called Pzooe. And then I have another one just for the actual writing because you have this.
I'm going to start calling you on these Japanese car missions.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because if nothing else, I can send you over the image and it can be your homework.
Yeah.
And you can try to decipher.
That makes sense.
How many symbols are there?
So there are like 26, but there's 3 different alphabets. So they have the casual one. They have the like really high end, sophisticated one, and there's another one for any word that is not Japanese.
Oh.
So there's the alphabet just for non.
Right.
So, I don't know, like computer or words that are not traditional. They came from Japan,
like Atari or something, like Atari computer or something like that. Right. So that alphabet is expanding constantly, right? Like with new things.
Well, yeah, it does shift a little bit because they have to, since they don't have that many letters in their alphabet, they have to combine them to make the other words that they just don't have.
To make a compound word,
right?
You're essentially creating a character.
Pretty much, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
It's still, I've gotten nowhere with it. So when I buy a car, 90% of the time, if I'm looking at the sheet, I will occasionally ask Facebook to help me solve some of these problems. If I see things
that it out there,
Google Translate can't translate.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you post them and they're so ridiculous. Like the dirt rider is a knife point assassin
absolutely.
or something like that.
And there are no shortage of those, by the way, where it says like, extreme gore and bodily evidence. And what the Jesus
like,
Christ,
just buy?
Phil says, I'll take 2.
Can't we spray for that?
I'm not paying extra for the gore.
Not using any black lights on this thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there have been things when I purchased the car and I had question marks, things that I wasn't sure about, but I was like, the car's too good, it's too desirable, it's something I want too bad. Right. I'm willing to take a chance on whatever those 4 words are I can't translate. And then the car comes in and I'm like, oh my God, it looks like it was kicked by a T-Rex. And then I translate the last and it's like Godzilla footprint on back trunk, And you're like, now I understand Godzilla footprint on back trunk. It was literally kicked by a T-Rex. Because remember, they've had Fukushima. Like they've had several monsoons. They've had several tsunamis and earthquakes in the 25 years that I'm buying these cars.
Yeah, so you don't know.
So people are getting rid of their shit.
Well, and there's rules in Japan. So I have to pay an extra amount of money to get a radiological certification on these cars so that I'm not bringing in, because once something is irradiated, it's irradiated for like 20,000 years. Yeah. So it's going to have to be a long time for me to wait to get this car for the radiation to count, the rad count to go down. Rads again.
So when are you going to buy your...
even if you have that underlighting down
even if you get the ground effects. Jeez. This car came with ground effects already installed. No, that's Fukushima.
Guy comes back, Phil, I bought this Figaro last year and all my hair fell out. Do you have any idea?
And I have an extra hand, but it's on my leg. What do you know about that? Nothing. I paid $100 for radiological certification.
Yep. Here's the paperwork.
Here's the paperwork. You're fine. That's something else. That's Godzilla syndrome. You might be a kaiju now.
Have you heard of syphilis?
Right. Now, if you did have cancer, just rub your dick on the hood. If you had ball cancer, you don't anymore.
Fine.
You'll be fine.
That'll just drop off in a day or two.
Exactly. Don't worry about it.
It was nice, though. He was able to cook lunch on the hood anytime you wanted to.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That is the funniest thing about the Japanese. The whole thing is, remember, our sins, the sins of America, Volkswagen diesels that lied about their EPA or lied about their smog rating so they could get those EPA numbers and had it set up so that the second you hooked up an OBD2 sensor, all of a sudden the car ran differently just for the test.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that's what they
did. It's like when wrestlers cut off their dick to make weight. They spend
How often do they do that?
Once.
Yeah.
But it's only for really important matches.
Important matches.
Just for the main event, yeah.
But it's this whole thing is like, as long as the parameters are okay when the test is being administered, then as soon as you unplug the OBD, then the car goes back to spewing out the contents of Detroit on the road behind you. Well, guess what happened to all those cars? They did not get crushed. They did not get disassembled. They got sold to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, yeah.
And Libya and everywhere in the world that wanted a Volkswagen turbo diesel. except for America.
Right.
So when there's a sin, you don't have to bury the sin. You can sell the sin out of the country. When two-stroke bikes became heinously illegal in the early 90s, in Italy, they didn't have a Vespa crushing day party. They had a promotion that said, bring us your Vespa two-stroke, and we will give you the equivalent of $700 in 92 money towards the purchase of any new Vespa. And you didn't have to prove the Vespa you brought in was yours.
Just show up with it.
Pretty much.
No VIN checks.
And it was the Cash for Clunkers program way earlier. And so all these Vespas that have been chained to trees for 25 years, all of a sudden the chains got cut. So so it cleaned up the society, it cleaned up the environment of all these rusty Vespas. Yeah. Dudes brought it in, or it also cleaned up guys' neighbors' garages of their rusty Vespas.
They're dredging rivers.
Yep. And getting $700 off a brand new Vespa, four-stroke. So it cleaned up their environment, and all those cities that were so clogged with pollution became clean again, right?
Okay.
So the Cash for Clunkers thing has happened many, many times. Well, would it be out of the question to think of the thousands of vehicles that were flooded out in various different tsunamis
Coming into the market.
Coming into any market other than Japan?
Yep.
So when you're buying a 25-year-old car from Japan, depending on where it's from in Japan, it may have experienced the natural disaster or two.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the man-made disaster or two. So yeah, it is one of those things that you do have to be very careful of it and know what signs to look for. Because if you put a Toyota Land Cruiser under 5 feet of water, it's never the same again. No. All of the important wiring runs on the floor. All the things between the front computer and the back computer, all the things in the entire spinal column of the car is not up in the roof. It's literally under the carpet in the back seat area.
And they're bad if it sprinkles outside.
Yeah.
So getting into a flood is just, you're done.
A saltwater flood.
You don't know.
A saltwater flood 5 foot deep.
Nope.
Yeah.
Totally screwed.
Right. So, there's things you look out for. Like when you look at the speedometer cluster, and if there's like dirt behind the speedometer lens, like, you're not
Pour
supposed
some water on the bottom of it.
You turn the headlights on and they're just full of water.
Think about this. Every phone. So you don't fuck over the phone company. When you say, hey, my phone broke and I bought it 2 weeks ago, they open a thing and they look and they see the red dot. Why doesn't a car have a fucking red dot? It used to be literally inside the headphones jack. Yeah.
So when you take your phone in to get another one, they could just peer down in there with a bright flashlight. If they saw the red dot and the headphone jack, you had submerged your phone in water.
Yeah, you bought your own phone.
Good luck.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I'm saying, why don't they have it in a car?
Well, they do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's called the speedometer lens. So if the fuse panel is corroded,
right,
it's been underwater.
Gotcha.
Because there is nothing in the world that will protect a fuse panel.
Right.
A fuse panel is one of those things that even on motorcycles, we see tons of corrosion there because there's a lot of electricity. There's a lot of galvanic action there. So when a bike is ever in water, one of the best places to look for it, if you think your bike might have been flooded out, like a Hurricane Katrina bike or something, we should call Tom Pennington to ask about this, because Tom down in New Orleans, he got Ducatis in that were in people's garages where the garage was full of mud up to 10 feet.
Katrina? Yeah. Because
all of the water and the mud came in, but then the water left.
Right.
And so the inside of the pistons was full of mud.
Oh, geez.
And Tom, our friend Tom, managed to take these bikes apart and clean them out and make them work again.
Holy shit.
Bikes that insurance companies had said, here's your check.
Yeah. But what do you think his hourly rate when he was done was?
Oh, I have no idea.
No, I'm saying, like, what he got out of the bike, is like $4 an hour or something like that.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. So if you got the bike from the insurance company for free, essentially, and you put 20 hours into it.
So that's a penny a cc kind of deal?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it might be. So that's that. And to his left,
Steve Sleepy.
Tell us about our friend Mike.
Last week, we were all talking about going riding and stuff. I was actually going to go ATVing, but that kind of fell apart and whatever. Going back and forth, so talking to Mike a little bit. And I said, I think I'm going to go out, whatever. And he disappeared and stopped texting and just disappeared. And then his wife texted me. And those that don't know, Mike was on the podcast for a little while during the winter, and he's just been really busy. But he had the always look out for this, heading toward an intersection. It was a 55, 60 mile an hour road, went through the light, and a lady turned left right in front of him, and he had her full steam 65. Yeah. According to him, he did 3 or 4 ragdolls in the air, landed and did 2 or 3 more, then slid into the ditch, and then got life flighted to Metro. where they found out that he has a crushed pelvis, crushed, I think, femur or top of his bone or something. They had to have a hole drilled through his leg to hold it in place. Split spleen, split some other thing.
Yeah.
Broken ribs, bruised leg, bruised arms, bruised everything. But he's alive. He's an all the gear, all the time guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And he would not be here without it, definitely. His helmet took a pretty good blow. Everything else did. All the gear did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Nice.
He doesn't have a lot of road rash or anything like that. It's just impact injuries.
Okay.
But so he was in, Mrs. Smith went and said hi to him for us because
really?
of the COVID thing. So
Wow.
she went and got to say him and said that we all said hi, which is kind of nice for him.
She did it via phone.
Okay.
Oh yeah, fantastic, super cool.
And
But
he just got moved out of trauma into a room where he's like, now it's recovery time. Like he's not going to explode and die today.
right.
So now he's recovering, but it still sucks. And it really it's changed my mind a little bit about. I mean, I was pretty safe going into intersections, but now I'm like really, really cautious if there's somebody in the left turning lane. Because if you think about it, if you're coming from behind that person and somebody's going to turn left, they can't see you at all.
No,
There's nothing.
they do not know you're there.
So either you got to start zigzagging. If you can, I'm going to always try to be in the right-hand lane. I'm not going to be in the middle lane anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, intersection, slow down for an intersection. What else can you say?
Yeah, it is the most dangerous place in the world, and of course, nobody's going to yield to you because one, even if they are looking on a motorcycle, to the average car driver, which is a pretty low bar, average car driver, it is extremely hard to judge distance. And especially if it's in a 35 mile an hour zone and you're not going 35.
Right.
So that person makes a calculated thing. The person in the car, they go, I want to get to my destination. I see a yellow light. My natural instinct is I can sneak through.
Yep.
And then they see the motorcycle and they're like, well, I've got the green, technically. I've got the yellow, so I still have the right of way. And that person is clearly far away. Before they even get to that part of that third sentence, they've committed to the turn.
Yeah.
And they're now in your lane of travel. And there's nothing you can do about it. So the time that I got hit in a left of center situation, the person stopped. Had they gunned it, I would have passed.
Right.
We would not have hit each other.
But they did that.
But because they got into the middle of the intersection, well into my lane, and it was a one-lane situation, I didn't have an exit line to the right, I hit a stationary car. So I hit a stationary car. Now, I bled off 35 miles an hour, so my impact speed was like 11, but it still put me into the windshield and over the car.
Yeah.
Because 11 miles an hour into a 2-ton vehicle is still pretty good.
And that's the thing. All the gear in the world, obviously the gear worked. Like he doesn't have, missing skin and missing all this other stuff, right? The gear did its job.
Yeah, but he became a bag of broken bones.
That's the thing. Yeah. One thing that the gear cannot do for you is take absorption of an impact.
Yes,
that's
right.
That's where your brain and and believe me, there's no way I'm trying to say that Mike could have done anything differently. No. I'm not saying that at all. No. I'm just saying that as a person that's not crashed, but looking at intersections now, like I'm taking them
you have a whole new appreciation for intersections.
Yeah, it made me it's the first time somebody tells you when you I remember being like 20 and my buddy would always come up to a car and he'd park to the left of the car. And I'm like, why do you do that? Okay. And he's like, because if you get hit from behind, I'm not stuck between the cars. I'm getting pushed through.
That's exactly
I'm going to get injured, but I'm not going to be squished. And
you're not in a pinch point.
Right. And so that was 25 years ago or something like that. And I've never not done that. You know what I mean? I've always done that now because it made sense to me.
That's right.
And
that's what happened to Chrome, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think he might have got the Malachi crunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's what he said. He was on his way to work, got hit from behind and pushed in the front.
Yeah.
So as an aside, too, another dangerous spot that some of us ride highways and where there's exit ramps coming up on your right, you really got to be careful because anymore there's people that to your left that are making lane changes because there's my there's my exit, and I've seen that twice the last 2 days going to work and people whipping across, diving to their exit ramp. So please be alert as you're going through exit ramps. Now from now on,
that's a very big deal.
Stay the hell out of the way and be tremendously alert.
Yeah, anytime you've got two pieces of traffic coming anywhere near each other at the same time.
And here's the thing, obviously, riding a motorcycle to get somewhere, you got to go with, you're going wherever you're going, right? But like a lot of the weekend trips that we've been taking, even like a couple hour rides or, we get together, whatever, we've definitely been hitting really nice roads where there's hardly any traffic. Mm-hmm. And like, even if you were to crash, you're just going to slide off into some grass or something like that. Like you're not going to be happy, but like whatever.
Right.
But it's definitely...
It's going to be a bad day.
It's a more relaxing, and it makes the whole thing...
Have you do the relaxed crash.
I'll do the
help you out later.
Relaxed, I don't know about. My butt always slams shut.
Yeah,
literally. It's no such thing as relaxed. Well, band camp is pretty relaxing.
Yeah.
I've had a few very relaxing crashes there where my scooter just fell asleep.
I'm sure that was the cause.
It just fell asleep and laid down. It just happened to be where we were on it at the moment.
So that's where everybody would have been this weekend.
Yeah, we're having some real problems right now. At this very moment, my brain wants to be 2 hours south of here. Oh man!
And what a weekend! No rain, a little bit of rain maybe.
Yeah,
and like 87 degrees.
Yeah, it's been very tough all day today because I've had this like. So what if I just jump on my bike and I ride down there, and I show up and I take I stop at the place on the corner and buy 15 pepperoni rolls. And I get a cooler full of icy beers, and I go down to the property, and I climb in the creek, and I just sit in the creek and just let all of my stress wash away with pepperoni rolls and beer. And I somehow was like, I should just do that.
Yeah.
I should just fucking do it. And I was like, and I wonder if anybody else will be there.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
Well, check this out. So Dan from Cincy, and he didn't get back to me too much, but he was like, he said, "Hey, what are the ClevelandMoto folks doing this weekend? I'm hosting a small scooter gathering near Hillsboro, Ohio. Probably still some tent camping spots, social distancing.
There's me in the skirt."
And he said, you can hit 555 on the way home.
On the way home.
Yep.
Yeah, I will post a link to this video on our show notes. But this is us doing scooter jousting.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful, you will see my balls because I do crash. I do crash while wearing a kilt while we're doing scooter jousting. But yeah, one of our friends blows his knee up in this crash. He doesn't leave in a helicopter, but he leaves unhappy, to say the least. But yeah, this is what we would be doing right now in sepia tone with static lines, with artificial static applied for artistic effect, of course. But yeah, that's really what we should be, where we should be.
Yeah.
So for like 25 years, the guy in the skirt, that guy right there, that guy is there for 25 years. Jeez. So me being here right now is wrong. Yeah. It couldn't get wrongier.
With the temperature as hot as it is, though, I think there'd been a lot of nudity.
Yes, there would be.
There would have been a lot of
the pants off dance off party that usually occurs Friday night.
Yep.
Which is we get up on stage and the DJ just is on fire, and we for some reason just your clothes fall off. It's the dumbest damn thing. I don't know how to describe it. Yep. But every year people's clothes fall off. And it's a weird thing, man. I don't know. Band camp. I don't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's a bad idea. It sucks. You should never ever go. You should never ever ever go all the time. But the scooter jousting. I recommend it to all my friends. The weird thing is, I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but it is it's a very screwed up time in the world of motorcycles right now. It's a very screwed up time in the world of motorcycle companies that sell, design, and build motorcycles.
And just world in general.
Yeah, the whole world is screwed up. Yeah. But if it's up to you and you're trying to go out and buy a motorcycle right now, weirdest fucking thing. People who sell boats, people who sell RVs, people who sell bicycles, guess what? They're selling out of them because a lot of their inventory or the parts that go into their inventory comes from China or comes from Italy, two places that were hit particularly hard in the virus.
Right.
And so there's a shortage already. There's an instant supply problem. And when the whole government is telling you the only thing you're allowed to fucking do is social distance, you want to jump on that motorcycle, you want to get in that camper, you want to get in that boat or take that canoe out. You can't buy a little plastic boat. Buying a kayak right now. Go to any...
There's no kiddie pools.
There's no kiddie pools.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, my God. What are you dads going to do?
I know.
There's no kiddie pools. Just get all the 5-gallon buckets in the world. Yeah. Put them together, all the 5-gallon buckets in the world. There is nothing. I mean, it's the strangest time in the world. So, Chris, you went to Janus.
I did.
You went to Michiana.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For people who aren't familiar with Michiana, is it technically Michigan's like dingleberries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's what comes off the bottom of Michigan.
Yeah. It's Michigan's racist cousin.
It is. Michiana. And so you got to go and meet the guys who build the Janus bikes, and you got to take them out for a ride?
I did. There was a...
Did you take out a Halcyon?
Yeah, and it was a shop bike, so it wasn't the ones that they're selling, but it was good enough. And
it was good enough. It was broken in.
Yeah, they're closed right now. So the guy was nice enough. His name's Grant, who was nice enough to meet me there, and he had a shop bike that they were using for test rides. So it was fine. And couple of things I was concerned about is my seating position on the bike because I got kind of longer legs, and actually the pegs are so low that my hip flexion was less than not as extreme as, for instance, on my concourse or even on the V7.
Right.
So it was very comfortable. First gear is kind of a little weak. But second, third, fourth, fifth is fine.
Okay. All right.
I got the thing up to maybe, just a little bit south of 70 miles an hour.
Okay.
On one of their side roads.
Totally respectable. For 250.
Yeah. Brakes great. Has relatively good pickup. Great handling.
Yeah.
You can lean the thing. I didn't really get on any real twisties out there because all their roads are at 90
Pretty
degrees.
straight.
Yeah, they're on a grid system out there.
Yeah,
but,
if you want to go into a twisties, I recommend the Wendy's drive-through. It's got a hell of a decreasing radius left-hander there.
But the bike was very comfortable to ride. The speedometer was a little hanky. It was kind of bouncing around.
Probably a Chinese off-the-shelf unit.
Yeah.
Right.
But a beautiful looking bike.
Yeah.
How did the welds look? Like when you looked at the welds, remember?
I inspected all the welds. I took an extra 3 hours to inspect every weld. And
you brought out your magnetometer. Yeah, you did X-ray testing. Right.
They were FG. So,
yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
So the deal is that you can't get one right now anyhow because
Yeah.
they've shut down their assembly and all that kind of stuff. And so I was talking to the guy and I said, well, he says, you could probably get one by the end of October. And I said,
holy shit.
Well, I said, look, that doesn't do me any good because that's the end of riding season. Right. And you guys have a 2-year warranty.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to eat up 6 months of the warranty in
while the snow's falling.
Yeah. So he says, well, you can order it and pay for it and then pick it up in February. Okay. I said, well, nope, still wrong. Yeah, we got salt here in Ohio, so I'm not going to get it all toasted up.
And they have the same salt in Indiana.
Right? Well, if they do, they do. So I said, we'll have to talk about it a little bit more detail to see how this plays out. But so he said, give a call in December, see what kind of deals we have, end of the year deals, and so I'll do that and I'll see what they have to say. But
I mean, hey,
did you feel like you had to have one though after riding it?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. So, and I actually told the guy because it took me 4 weeks or so to kind of get this all set up to go out there, and I finally told him, I said, well, Grant, look, I'm looking at maybe buying a 2020 Honda Monkey,
right,
and or 2011 if I can get my hands on it, Enfield C5 military. So
right, exactly.
I said, either you help me out here or you don't. And
sounds like he's just not in a position.
Well, yeah, and I think that's part of the issue is that they only have so much stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
his stand.
So
his stand is falling.
Yeah, that's one of those situations that there's nothing he can do about it if he doesn't have any supply. So, and I've been in that position for the past, month now on all the SSR stuff. There's just nothing I can do. Oh, it's DHL's here. Check it out.
Oh, my goodness. It's like an 8 p.m. delivery on Friday night. That guy's not having...
But the But the
DHL delivers at 9 p.m.
Yeah, 9 p.m. on a Friday night, DHL in the house. All right, so Chris.
So here's another part of the whole story is that so my brother Justin, who has a 1969 Ford Mustang Fastback with a 351 Cleveland engine in it.
I saw it. It's a beautiful car.
Says he wanted to go out there because he knew that in Indiana he could get a bottle of Blanton's to pay me back because I lent him a bottle of Blanton's.
Oh,
which is a bourbon.
Yeah.
So he says, I'll drive you out there in the Mustang, and then while you're doing your test ride, I'll go get the Blantons, and then
okay. Yeah.
and then we'll drive back. Said, all right. And so we're out there on I-90, cruising along, getting a lot of people waving at us and stuff like that, checking out the car. Until we get to be about 8 miles east of the Blue Heron service exit, at which point he's not driving a car anymore, but he's driving a crop duster with all the smoke coming out of it.
Shit.
And so we pull into this place, thank God, and his car's just smoking all the Sam Hill. And I said, Justin, this car's not going to make it to Indianapolis or to Goshen, Indiana.
No, it's not.
And so he called a tow, and he had to get a flatbed tow to drive him back to Westlake, Ohio here, which means I'm at the Blue Heron.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to make the unenviable call to Mrs. Smith saying, hey, can you drive out here and pick me up and drive me to Indiana? At which point she says, no.
Wait. That's not even asking for a 6-hour round trip. That's asking for a 3.5-hour trip to you. And
2 hours.
then.
Yeah. She says, no, I'm not doing that. I said, well, how about Tristan? He's sitting around. Have him drive my car, pick me up. We'll go to Indiana, and then we'll drive back. And so they said, well, we'll see in a little bit. And they show up with 2 cars. Here's your car. Fuck you. We're driving back to Cleveland.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
Which is fine.
Which is still great. They delivered a car, right?
So by that point, Justin was already on his way back to Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the car. I drive to Goshen, Indiana, test ride the bike. And Justin had given me a little note that says, well, here's where the Blantons is. Here's their phone number. Here's their street address.
Right? All right.
So I show it to the guy at Janus. I said, where is this? He says, well, it's about 20 miles southwest of where we are right now.
Okay.
Now, to put it in perspective, Cleveland is northeast of Goshen. So I'm going another 20 miles.
Going the wrong way.
In the wrong way.
Yeah.
I said, all right, I'm going.
Just add an hour to your trip if you don't talk.
So I punched that in, and I get to the place. There it is. I walk in, and I said, hey, you guys got a bottle of Blanton's behind the counter for Justin Smith. The guy says, what do you mean? I said, well, my brother called, spoke to the lady that's behind the counter.
Right.
And this guy spends 20 minutes looking for this fucking bottle of Blanton's. Does he have it? Nope. And I said, I'm thinking, fuck.
Are you actually kidding me?
So I called Justin. I said, who the fuck did you talk to? He says, I don't know, some lady. Anyhow, I go back to the guy at the counter. I said, was somebody working here on Thursday? A lady? Oh, I don't think so. But let me call our other store.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. No. Where is this fucking thing?
Of course, the other store, a lady answers and says,
yeah, I got a bottle of it right here.
Is that Justin Smith? I said, yeah.
Oh, no.
So I said, okay, I'll go to the other store. Where's that? And honest to God, I don't know if you guys ever been in this situation, but say, well, see this road out here? Just go on down this road for a while.
A piece. And then, down the road a piece.
And then you go through a traffic rotary, and the next street you come to, take a left, and it's right there. And I said, whoa.
How about an address, man?
How about the name of the town? Oh, it's like Nipanema or something like that. Okay. I said, where I'm taking a left, does that have a name?
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, it's like Main Street. I said, is that it? And another customer says, well, it's Route 6. I said, okay, Route 6.
That helps. I like that. Yeah.
So I said, I take a left, and it's right there? Yeah, it's right there. There's a Speedway gas station.
Okay.
Of course, you get down there, you take a left, and within the first 100 yards, I'm looking right and left, right and left, right and left.
And there's fuck all.
Nothing. I go a mile, nothing. Going, where the fuck is this goddamn fucking Speedway gas station? 3 miles down the road, Speedway, there it is.
Oh,
all
shit.
Right. Of course, I walk in, and there it is. There's the bottle of Blanton's. I said, okay, fuck.
Wow. Hard fought and fucking fat bottle of Blanton's.
I never gave up.
Holy shit.
And as I'm standing there, they have 2 bottles of Four Roses Small Batch Select right on the counter. I thought, oh my gosh, that's good stuff. Because here in Cleveland,
You can't get that.
it's hard
It's
to find,
rare.
but it's like $55 or $60 a bottle. I picked up one of these bottles, $149 for the bottle. I go, what the fuck is
Are
this?
you kidding me?
No, it's 3 times as expensive.
Oh my
Indianapolis.
God.
So I don't know what they're doing
What
over
the
there.
fuck is going on with that?
So I put that one back.
Yes, you did. Twice.
And,
I picked it up, look at it again, and put it back
yeah,
again.
fuck this.
You're like,
Just
can you
for
do something?
comic
I
effect.
drove like 600 miles to get here. Can I please get a discount or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, yes, no, fuck you.
Right.
Hey, get the fuck out of here. So anyhow, so that was it. So I then, turned around, drove back to Goshen to the highway, and another 5 hours back to 4.5 hours back to Cleveland.
Shit.
But was the bike ride worth it? Were you like, yeah, that was a good
best
trip?
ride ever. Totally worth it.
I'm glad I went there. I'm glad that I checked it out. I'll wait to see what his end of the year deal's all about.
Yeah,
And
all right.
if it's a good deal, then I'll seriously
And
consider
obviously
getting
that's
one.
right.
And if it's not, then it's not. Then there's other bikes out there to
Right.
spend your money on.
Yeah, there's plenty of shit out there. I mean, it's weird right now.
Did you tell him that you had a drifter and that you might be interested? Something like that.
Might be interested in what?
A little trade, drifter for.
I'm not trading the fucking drifter.
I was gonna
Kiss my
say.
ass.
Have to get a letter from me first.
What are your nuts hanging out the window?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. There you go. I had a customer come in today, and super great guy, and he's been trying like hell to buy a motorcycle. And he went to the Harley Davidson dealer, and he's eyeballing a leftover 2019. Cam would know. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's a Sportster it's a Sportster variety piece of shit.
It's in the strain.
It's in the strain. It's got right. It is apparently the girls Harley Davidson. So these guys are about to get their ass lit up. Watch that. Oh hey whoa yeah, fire rate behind me. Okay, but so he went there and looked, and the guy literally at the Harley Davidson dealership had said, "If you want this bike, I'll sell it to you, but it's at a $900 premium because you're buying my floor model."
Premium.
Yes, a $900 premium because you're buying my floor model, and I don't have another one coming in, so that people won't be able to see this particular model of Sportster.
So it's on you. You have to pay extra for that.
So
shit.
if you want this bike, you can have it tomorrow. But it's a $900 premium. Yeah. So what they've done now is, due to this, if you have a boat, a boat dealership or an RV dealership or whatever, like it's very hard to buy toys right now. They have taken this psychology to the point where they're no longer saying, not only do we not negotiate, but if you'd like to buy any of our existing non-current dated inventory, it's a 19, we're going to put a $900 tariff on it because you can have it tomorrow or the next day or whatever it is.
Well, that's like the Corvette guys. They're so boned up and hard on for the 2020 Corvettes that they all sold out when they came out, right?
Yes, they did.
There was a whole article, and it's from Cleveland. Whoever the guy in Cleveland bought,
Cameron Vanderhorst.
Yes, but the guy bought the first available 2020. In fact, it might have been one that they used it like the car shows to show it off.
Okay.
And they sold it to him, and then he smashed it into a tree. So the whole front of the car is destroyed.
Yeah.
And right now it's for sale, and the current bid is $79,000 for a $69,000
For a crashed $69,000 car.
Yes.
Fuck me.
That's
just
how.
ridiculous.
So the premium, they're making their own premium.
Yeah.
Because they
That's so
figure that the
ridiculous.
motor's in the middle, so
Yeah.
it didn't get hurt.
Right. Well, but you know what? That's not. We used to be able to say that about cars. When a car was a bumper, and 2 railroad tracks between those 2 bumpers, right? That's how cars used to be built.
Yep.
Railroad tracks, bumpers on each end.
Yep.
But now every car in the world is not just a unibody, but it is a science experiment of aluminum and carbon fiber and different things that are literally glued together with glue.
Oh yeah, there's
And if they hit a parking bollard, if they hit a Prius, the back bumper might fall off because of the stresses that are distributed through this safety
It's not
cage.
hurting the Prius at all.
No, probably not.
there's a YouTube channel called Goon Squad.
Okay.
It's these 2 Tennessee kids, very pleasant, positivity
Sure.
guys, and they buy cars that are wrecked and fix them.
Okay.
And they've done it to racing Vipers, Ferraris, things, Jeeps, all this stuff. But every car they get now, especially even the big trucks, like the big 350, F whatever, $70,000 trucks. So all these cars are smashed. So you get to see them taking them apart. And you would, just like you're saying, you wouldn't believe it. Whatever car they're working on now had 4 radiators. It was like right in like this in line.
Yeah.
There's 4 of them. Like 2 of them were for intercoolers or something. 1 was for something else, whatever. And they were literally glued together.
Yes.
Like you couldn't.
No, they're adhesives.
Yeah, it's fucking
the amount of
crazy.
adhesives that are used in modern car manufacturing is shocking.
Yeah.
Even Tesla, I think a big chunk of it is like glued in.
And in so many vehicles where aluminum panels are joined or non-homogeneous metals are joined, it's just using epoxies. So it really is. And when it comes time to fix that,
Not fun.
hell hath no fury. Like if you've ever tried to unepoxy something, Yeah. That was an epoxy is a cruel mistress. Yeah. Not even fun. I'm good. I've got one going, but I will drink the shit out of that. So I opened up a Natterdays Light just so I could see how the drinking class lives.
Now, is that a new one or is that still from last year?
This is from the never-ending case of Natty.
Okay.
This is from...
It's still going.
It's the Hanukkah.
This is June of 2020.
It is June of 2020. And this says... who the fuck knows what it says on it? I'm sure it will actually have a date, though, if I spend the time to look at it. But, this is not a fresh beer.
The
not
date is
by
corroded.
A long shot. Yeah. The date... It doesn't even have a www on it. No, that's not true. But it is, it is, I find no evidence. I know that the ABV has to be printed on here somewhere, but I do not find any evidence of it.
If they don't, it's because it's so low, it's embarrassing.
It's 4.7.
Really?
No, 4.2.
Oh, okay.
So this is 4.2 and this is 4.5.
Nice.
Bing.
Well, that one's so old, it's got a full ring pull tab.
Yes, it does. And I can hang it on my jean jacket because I'm cool. I did participate. I was going to show you guys. I got something cool. I went on this other podcast. You may have heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
All the Motorcycles and Misfits.
We saw
those
that.
guys.
Is that a real podcast?
It is a real podcast.
They don't go deep, though. They don't go hard. They're like 30 minutes in and they're done.
Yeah, I don't think they're even in the top 10, I think.
They sent me a shirt.
Oh, look at that.
They sent me a shirt. Are you going to see that?
Yeah.
I participated in a little trivia game of theirs.
Oh, yeah. That's what Liza said.
It was a busy week for me. I was out picking up and delivering bikes, and they do their podcast on Sunday evenings. Well, there you go. That's modeling. Oh, look, it's got a tag on my dick. It says black. Doesn't know me too well. Yeah, there's nothing black about that dick. Now, here's what... For the loom.
Well, ever since you got it fixed, it's been all right.
It's been okay. Yeah. So their podcast, they do their podcast like 7 p.m. Santa Cruz time.
Oh, yeah.
Or 6 p.m. Santa Cruz time, which is way too light out.
Yep.
And they do the Zoom thing as well. Mm-hmm. And they're all well illuminated because they have sunlight there.
Yeah.
That comes into the houses, which we don't. And so I look very dark. I look like Nosferatu in the video. But it was all about, I thought it was fun because their game topic was motorcycles, what have animal names. So you can listen to the Motorcycles and Misfits podcast. And I was hoping it wasn't going to be a technical challenge because I know Liza pulls this shit. Well, she'll have me in there and she'll be like, okay, tonight we're going to have a contest. We're going to have a game. And on the first team is going to be Knock and Mike and Michael and Emma and Megan and Kat. And on the second team is going to be Phil. And she does this shit to me. Fuck you. All right. But so this particular game was Phil versus Emma versus the rest of the Misfits.
It's a little bit more fair.
A little bit more fair there, but fucking Emma's super smart.
Yeah.
Emma knows more about motorcycles than I will ever know about motorcycles. Because while she spent her life adoring British motorcycles, I spent my life ignoring British motorcycles.
What phone number do you want them to call?
We got a grant? Yeah, tell them to call.
Whoever has the loudest speaperphone.
Yeah, mine's pretty solid.
All right,
so have them call 440.
Wait, don't, not over the phone.
Oh, they all know that. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, you cut it. You got it, yeah.
All right. There you go.
555.
So anyway,
555.
it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was cool when you try to think of all the motorcycles that have animal names. And they were also letting it be any motorcycle that was like a water buffalo counts. Okay. Even though the bike's Christian name is the GT750, water buffaloes
codename,
acceptable.
Yeah. So was it one at a time?
Yeah,
Just
sudden
one-upping each other?
So the problem was
Nice.
fucking misfits would get shit wrong and they'd correct each other and that would count.
Oh,
But for
'cause it was
me
a
and Emma,
team
it's
effort?
sudden death. Yeah, right.
He wants to know what's the name of the podcast.
Cleveland Moto.
All right, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, so
wait,
he's
Chris, you
vetting
don't
us
know
now?
it?
Fuck you.
No, I
Chris
didn't
doesn't know
know
it.
whether it was ClevelandMoto.blogspot.
No, we're done with that. It's just Cleveland Moto. Yeah, Cleveland Moto. The blogspot thing is all around. Yeah, ClevelandMoto.com. So yeah, so that was the. But so I managed to win. But you know which one we didn't say? Which one we didn't announce was we didn't announce the Honda Super Cub. We missed it.
Really?
8 people, 7 people, all throwing out names of motorcycles
Yeah.
that are animals, and nobody
The Cub.
fucking nailed the Honda Super Cub. So all right, I'm standing by when he wants to call in. Is this going to be Grant?
I think it's going to be Richard
Richard. Okay. All right. Yep.
or Richard.
So
Does he go by Richard?
Jean-Claude Richard.
Jean-Claude Richard? Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't know. We'll sort it out once.
We'll see if he calls, right? So that's cool.
does put it like right down here, and it should.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is machines like to listen to other machines.
Yeah.
So you could be talking in a normal talking voice, and you could be carrying on a telephone conversation on speakerphone 90 feet away,
Okay.
and that shit will come through.
Yeah.
We'll hear you perfectly fine. There won't be any question about whether or not you can be heard. So yeah, that's super cool.
So the concourse.
Yeah,
Honest to fucking God.
yeah.
I don't know where the hell I was going, but I was in 4th gear at 70 miles an hour in that fucking thing.
Yeah.
And there's still more torque in 4th gear.
Oh yeah.
But holy
Oh
shit.
yeah. Yeah.
That thing's got bigger balls than I do, I'll tell you that.
We were just talking about it. It's a nail. It's one of those motorcycles that I still just consider that motorcycle to be a fucking nail.
Wow.
Because they got it perfect. Now, every concourse that's happened after that has been in some way, better. But the thing was, they're all out of the exact fucking recipe. And the recipe of that Gen 1 concourse was so good.
Oof.
That was just fucking perfect. And I find it hard to find anything that's wrong with it other than, it has carburetors, and carburetors are a system that doesn't work with today's modern fuels.
And it's
Yeah.
a little cramped when you're trying to do the sport touring kind of thing.
Yeah, well, okay, I could understand.
But
Yeah.
honest to God, that thing just has more rip and tear,
It does. It absolutely does.
which is an official motorcycle phrase.
Yeah. Right.
Rip and tear.
Yep.
Yeah, and
It's also a drag show. It's really cool.
then we were ripping and tearing. It is very. We were talking about events, and
It's
so
also an arts and crafts show too.
There you have
right.
it.
Ooh.
And the show about virgins.
Uh-oh. Yikes.
Ooh.
Settle down.
I thought that
PG.
this year was going to be one of those years where it was going to be. We knew Corona was going to be fucked up.
Yeah.
We knew that Corona was going to keep us in our houses. We knew that things were going to look bad pretty much on March 5th or 6th.
Yeah.
It didn't take long. It wasn't like this could be weird.
Well, it was supposed to magically clear up by Easter, though.
Yeah, it was.
Sure.
Wasn't it?
It's just going to go away.
Right.
Just-
You'll be
it'll
in
just
church on
go
Easter. It'll just go away. But now it is
Sorry.
very much looking like a lot of the cities and a lot of places that said we're kind of opening things up have now this week posted their highest numbers of getting it. So again, I was talking about like a lot of people felt like there was this buildup and then there was a drop off and then another buildup, or what they're calling a second wave. And pretty much the rules are, if you like numbers, you'll know that there isn't a second wave. We're still very much climbing the first wave. So anyone who thinks that, we're going to cruise now and the second wave will get here. No, we're still climbing. So,
And people are starting to do big events. My stupid job is sending me to Philadelphia next week. I have to get on an airplane.
whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm going to be in a bodysuit.
I would recommend, Tyvek, the whole
I'm
thing.
not going to Tulsa.
Oh, for the Trump rally? You love him, but you don't love him that
Yeah,
much.
right.
You're not standing in a line singing outside of the convention center.
I just saw
Did you guys see the video?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like, that's totally, that is just happenstance, though. It just happened.
That just happened. Those
yeah.
people haven't been practicing that for the past 6 months.
No.
They aren't paid giant checks to give up their
They are classical. They have jazz hands.
They
so
do.
Somehow,
They're a troop.
Yeah,
They're a troop. They're a troop that got a giant check.
Somebody wrote a check.
Yeah, something. So like they're called like Tulsa Madrigals.
Right.
And they got a check in the mail one day, and they got a check, and they were like, "What the fuck is this? We just got a $2 million check."
Yeah.
And let's be honest with you, it's a Trump team, so it's probably a $20,000 check.
Right.
You can split it 7 ways.
That might bounce too.
It's signed, a really big signature. But anyway, having a stroke. But the
Third one this week.
when you look at this. When you look at their presentation, when you look at what they've got going on, like the one guy's got the little Bluetooth speaker thing with the drum line on it, and then the other chick's strumming her guts out. But you can tell these guys, this is not a throw together.
Dude, they had it to the point where her guitar neck, she was like bouncing.
Yes.
And the guy was missing.
He was missing the guitar neck, yes.
By like millimeters.
This is extraordinarily choreographed. Yeah. And then the statement was that people are getting there early, but they do a scan. They do a pan to get the angle of the whole troop, and you can see there's nobody on the block.
No.
These are the only people there. And they were planted there with the idea of entertaining the early arrivals. And as you can tell, there are no early arrivals.
No.
And to suggest that they are anything other than a paid troop, now, I want to know how big the number would have to be for me to rehearse and learn 3 songs that were songs I was diametrically opposed to. Right? You could come up with the titles. It would have to be something of the NAMBLA variety, right? But how big would the check be for me to go out and be like, all right, Steve, Oscar, we have some musical talent here. We have some musical firepower. We're going to go work this out. This is the outfit we're going to wear. And we're going to go to the convention center, and we're going to play these 3 songs over and over again until the police show up. And then we're going to make it even better because we have to get on camera playing these 3 songs. Yeah. So we have to throw things at the police. But this song was so infectious. I made the mistake of playing it in the shop.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, fuck, man. James is walking around singing it.
Earworm,
Yeah.
Yep.
But there is no way that was like a homegrown, straight up, yeah.
But the thing is, and again, I don't care about politics, whatever.
Right.
But, this is just news.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that support the president do not wear masks because they don't think it's the right thing to do.
Yes,
they think it's fake, whatever.
Right.
So they're going to have these giant rallies where people are purposely not doing any safety precautions whatsoever.
They don't want to be confused for a Democrat.
Right.
So they got to take the mask off.
So somehow, and I don't claim to be any party, but I like science.
I love science.
Science is a cool thing, and I believe doctors that have spent 30 years studying infectious diseases compared to I didn't even know this stuff existed until 4 weeks ago. So I'm kind of going to go with those guys.
Right, yeah.
And so I can't wait to see what happens after some of these things. I mean, look, did you hear about the girls in Florida?
Yeah.
The very basic ladies who they have a knitting club, but they decided it was time to go out on the town. So 16 of them went out and 16 of them came home with coronavirus. Yeah. All 16.
It was a 100% saturation rate.
It was 100%.
And they went to a bar. The funny thing is, there are no stats for all the other people in the bar.
Nope.
Like how many other victims there were.
Yeah, and who did they touch? And who did
I believe it was the Oregon choir thing, the Oregon church choir thing, where there were 61 members of the choir and 53 of them got the Rona.
Right.
Because it turns out that singing
Oh, no.
Projects.
is kind of
spitting at each other.
spitting at each other. Yeah. And it turns out being in a bar,
And talking
like they do,
is spitting at each
like
other.
ladies do,
Yeah.
when they're in a bar.
And after a couple
Have
cocktails,
a few pops on them,
Yeah. So it turns out the virus really likes that.
Yeah.
So, so go figure. Just kooky, but
Ooh, taste my drink.
oh yeah.
This is amazing.
So good.
Just told her Trump and drink.
I don't know why, but when I get drunk, I would just want to make out with you.
Yeah.
These girls have been on lockdown for how many months? You know they're making out. You know that all of them made out. They all just totally made out. They just made out.
Forget this knitting shit.
Yeah.
They wanted to bring out the scissor.
Yeah. That's straight to the arts and crafts. But so Sturgis, though, is absolutely game on.
Oh, dude.
And as I was traveling cross country, I made a couple of trips to Baltimore in the past few days, bringing back these dumb little cars. And I was going through a part of America where the NPR signal fades out and it's replaced by not one, but two fighting Jesus channels.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
So you're sitting there and you go over a hill and it goes from like, and next on All Things Considered, Jesus will save your life. And right. And then you'll hear the cross chatter of the other radio signal coming in talking about like, but it's only with guns that we can make Jesus more powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that takes you away and you have to turn off the radio.
Did they have the rock in the name of Jesus kind of tunes and stuff?
They had a lot of the stuff, a lot of the billboards are like, the only thing that can save us now is coal and Jesus.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm super duper in Pennsylvania right now. The Alleghenies are like, and they're gorgeous and they're beautiful and it's fantastic. But it is like, coal there is a religion. And suggesting that you're going to take any coal away is not spoken about. You don't talk about that. No, they don't like that one little bit. Clean coal. I love the billboards everywhere for clean coal. And I'm like, you can't even touch it. Like, it's not even clean to look at it. It hurts. It makes your eyes filthy just looking at it. So there's no such thing, come on, man. So anyway, I do tune into a local radio station and it's all about the Carlisle Car Show.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Carlisle. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to go to import shows there all the time.
Yeah. And so Carlisle is a big goddamn thing.
That's huge. I mean, that's a huge, it's got to be what, like 40, 50 acres of thing?
Well, it is. And it makes Mid-Ohio look like a drop in the bucket.
Oh, yeah.
And for all of us that worship at Carlisle or worship at Mid-Ohio, it really is nothing. So Carlisle is over 100,000 people.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's fucking huge. And that is going to exceed any state's 100 people or less rule.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like you can have 300 people at your wedding as long as the facility you're in is designed to hold 1,200 people. Well, this is not going to bode so well for Carlisle. And if you think motorcycle people are rabid about their church, old white men and their cruiser cars, old white men and antique cars, I grew up in this culture. Every old white man has a license to do exactly what these guys are doing.
Oh, yeah.
Walk up to what looks to me to be a 96 Camaro or maybe a 99 Camaro and be like, oh, yeah, Dave, I think that one might actually have the V6 in it. That is not the show. That's the parking area, I think.
That's a Bel Air out front.
There's a Bel Air right there in the front.
Is
yeah,
that
shoebox.
Cam?
What's that?
Isn't that Cam right there?
It is Cam. It's it is Cam. And the gentleman there with the satin jacket with all the patches on it.
Patches,
Yeah, that's Cam. So so this is the thing. They're suing.
What?
They're literally suing the government so they can have this event.
Well, look at our hero, Amy Acton.
Yeah.
She quit because she was getting death threats and lawsuits because she told people not to get sick.
Yeah.
And how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most bizarre thing.
It is the most insane thing. But this is one of these crazy, crazy things. So they've got a
250.
The health department. The health department sent Carlisle Events, the corporation that runs this event now, an email warning the firm it would be violating the 250-person attendance limit set under the emergency orders Governor Tom Wolf and Health Secretary Rachel Levine has issued in an attempt to curb the spread of COVID-19, which, by the way, has been blamed for the death of more than 6,200 people in Pennsylvania.
Right.
That's not a small number of people.
And let's say that the people that are attending that, what percentage do you think they fit into the percentage of people that get it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are the risk group.
Right.
So you've got...
Which is actually maybe a blessing in disguise.
50... Right. The extraordinary...
Cuts down on parking next.
I was going to say, the extraordinary conspiracy theory of this being a Chinese disease that was set up to relieve them of the burden of their ancient people that were having to be fed, clothed, and housed, and causing a burden upon the Chinese social system. So they developed a disease that would kill them off. If you believe in that narrative, if you believe in that story, Carlisle is literally the equivalent of a trailer park to a tornado.
Yeah.
It's a magnet that can't be resisted. All the corona on the planet should be headed for Carlisle right now. There's no doubt about it. It is called it's just too attractive.
It's the coronavirus kind of Sturgis.
It really is. It is.
Yeah.
We're going to go there and party.
I think that coronavirus has to make...
Hitchhiking on buses. They're getting wherever they can, man.
Coronavirus
There's
is
lots of
literally
guys over
hitching
there.
rides on people.
They're sitting at the gas stations. He's like, you heading east? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Carlisle.
But they're doing
A little cardboard sign that just says Carlisle.
Do you know what they're doing?
Yeah.
They're being very polite. So the virus doesn't actually infect the person. They just become the carrier.
It's a carrier. Yeah, it's a
So
carrier.
they don't have any virus,
Exactly.
what do you call
Antibodies.
symptoms.
They don't have any symptoms, right? They don't have any symptoms.
So they're welcomed open arms. No fever, no thing. Come on
nothing,
in, buddy.
Nothing. I would be going at anybody in a satin jacket right now. Yeah, I'd be going after anybody in a satin jacket. And honestly, if I was Corona too, when we think about when Sturgis is, I would also be heading for anybody with a beard that smelled like leather.
Yeah.
So you might end up at a bear festival. You might end up at Chicago leather convention, but most likely you'll end up at Sturgis. And so Corona couldn't be any happier. If its goal is to reproduce itself, Sturgis and Carlisle are the two places it needs to be, and apparently the Trump rally. But yeah, this is a concentration. Carlisle is a concentration of old white men.
But they also have events. Like I used to go to this import car thing. It was like it was the beginning of hot import nights, but it was called something. It was like Carlisle hot import something, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's probably about 10,000, 12,000 import people. This is like 97 or 8, like way a long time ago, maybe 2000. But they partied hard. Like they Carlisle let shit go on.
Yes,
I remember laying in my tent and there were cars doing like burnouts on this hill, like on the grass, just like doing like big donuts and hills. And they came slinging down and missed our tents by like 20 feet. Nobody cared. Nobody did anything. The wake up call at 6 a.m. was rev limiters, the whole way.
This is the picture. I'm gonna bigify this. I'm gonna embiggen this for our troops. Yeah, right. You just can't. It is hard to grasp how many motherfuckers this is. It's a lot of motherfuckers. And I'll cast this out just so these guys can see it real quick. It's so much density. Like when you talk about population density in a given space, yes, this does make the AMA Vintage Days show look like nothing.
Like a church social.
It does look like a church social. So the area, I'm going to say the upper left-hand corner.
Is that up there by the mass grave?
Yes, by the mass grave, the future side of the mass grave. The density at Carlisle, you can see everybody's right on top of each other. There's nowhere else they can go. They have the fairgrounds totally dominated every square inch of it. Yep. And the swap meet at AMA Vintage Days is probably like that as far as vendor density, and it's probably 3/4 of the size of this, what we see right there. But with the AMA Vintage Days, you've got a lot of places you can go. And you could, I did argue, probably could socially distance at AMA Vintage Days. I would mask it. I would be careful. I'd wash my hands a lot. But it would give me a good opportunity or a good excuse to keep moving and not get trapped by people, And when somebody comes at you and they're a COVID denier kind of person, the trick is just to come at them harder with like the whole, give me 6 feet, motherfucker. Because then you're just being irrational and they can't process that.
So bring up a photo of that.
But this gentleman right here is wearing his mask. You'll see that gentleman he's wearing his mask. He's got his Coors Light and he's looking at one of the many quality vendors. And that person is clearly selling Chinese yard art. And this is the other thing. When you go to these things, these people show up that just show up at shit because it's an event and they bought a ticket for a booth. So what they sell in their booth is entirely up to them. It doesn't have to be bumpers for a 62 Ford. It can be bullshit yard art. And that guy is clearly wearing his mask the way he should. Yep.
Hanging off his ear.
Hanging off his fucking ear. Yep. Anyway, so I digress.
You should pull up the photo of that elephant troughin. They do
the elephant troughin, yeah.
That they do. Now, no coronavirus is going there.
No.
And it says, fuck no.
And
yeah. Wait until you see this photo.
Yeah. So elephant troughin. So yeah, here we go. The elephant troughin is just one of these things that it's, we're going to go ahead and just play a video because it's beautiful. There's no other way to put it. The problem is, as much as I like being cold,
careful, defunded.
I don't like being this cold.
Oh, no.
And this is cold. So the Elephant and Treffen is the elephant ride. And yeah, it's the kind of thing where if you don't have a sidecar, you might consider buying one after this. Like you go to AMA Vintage Days, you come up with a strange notion to buy a CT90. You go to this thing and you come up with a strange notion to buy a hot tub and make it into a sidecar.
Just for the third
Or
factor.
outrigger skis.
You start putting, start drilling spikes into your motorcycle tires.
There's the guy that's just walking
So
in
here's the
barely.
guy coming up the hill on the little mini bike, right? Or the moped with the sidecar on it. Because that's as weird as it gets. But the terrain here and everything else, like they're digging through that guy's wrist to see his wristband. Okay, look out. You're in trouble. Here comes a Ural coming in hot because they're trying to climb up the hill to get through the gate.
But look at all the camping.
Look at all the camping.
These guys are fucking camping.
They're camping. This is a camping rally. And all the vehicles you could ever imagine in your life with sidecars on them are all at this event.
Bikes just laying in the snow.
Yeah, I would do the
over
same thing. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't even consider the idea of holding something upright at this place. But yeah, Elephant and Treffen, and now they do one of these in Colorado, or they have done one historically. And it's really magic. The people who bring out really cool, and you see there's a ton of beautiful vintage bikes.
Toe strap on the back of that motorcycle.
Oh, yeah. And it's very fun. And like the whole idea behind this, I have yet to participate in one of these, and I would consider it, but I don't like being that cold that long, you know, and this is going to be cold for a long time.
The whole time you're there.
The whole time you're there. Exactly. Yeah. You know, and it is going to be proper cold the entire time you're there. And you see these guys who've got studded tires and spiked tires and shit, and they're fighting for grip. You know, they're really having a time of it.
But off to the right, if you can see it, there's just scads of tents.
Yeah.
And off to the left,
oh,
there's
everything on this whole hillside is all just tents and shit. And you can see down in the valley, they're tents.
They got camping
they got a
gear
campfire going,
yeah.
and this is clearly the main drag. This is the way to get into it. And yes, you look at that and you're like, okay, well, the good news is I'm probably going to be wearing a face mask the whole time I'm there. So Corona doesn't have a chance of that. Second of all, it's not going to live on surfaces in, 21 degrees or 18 degrees or whatever that is. And
you're probably getting pneumonia and dying anyway.
you're going to get pneumonia and die anyway. Exactly. If you come back with a little cough,
There's
there's a
Vespa
fucking
right there.
Vespa. Did you see a Vespa on the side? That Vespa didn't have a sidecar on it. So super fun, super cool. Elephant
So where do you
and Treffen.
plug your battery tender in here?
Exactly. You fucking don't. You know what? I think the solution would be just never let your bike stop running. Yeah. If you think your bike has a problem starting in the cold, just never turn it off. Yeah, just leave it run the whole time. But it is fun. I mean, you see this lineup of bikes, and the balls on some of these people, pretty staggering. So super cool.
That dude can't even walk.
No, look. I will say I've been a skier my whole goddamn life, but this guy's battling. He's battling to move 1 inch on that shit. So yeah, more power to you, dude. Elephant Treffen.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not sure that's on my bucket list. Here. I don't know.
Nope. Probably not.
It is the kind of thing where I think it would be like a good thing to do once, to have the experience. But
this guy's going to end up going down to the end of the road and going, all right, well, am I turning around and coming back?
These guys are all running downhill. So like shit travels fast downhill.
Yeah, but you're coming up.
I would be really nervous about going downhill because I would eventually have to come back up again.
Yeah.
And walking,
leave the bike there and come
trotting
back for it
through
in
the snow
spring.
is definitely not the idea for me at all. It's just not my idea of a good day. But again, if you're set up for it, it'd be kind of cool. So this is the Colorado Elephant Ride. So out in Denver, our friend Scott has set up his all-state scooter with a sidecar rig and knobbies on it. And every year he participates in this ride when they do it. So these guys, they get together now, but it's not so much of a camping out in the woods for 3 days or 4 days kind of thing. I don't think. I've never been, but I would like to. I mean, this to me seems like a more interesting way to attack it. But again, you got to have a specialized bike for this. This is not the kind of thing you're just like, I'll take the concourse.
Yeah. Oops. That was a tactical mistake.
What the shit? Can we go to Home Depot and buy wood to make outriggers? Yeah.
This is what Irish coffee was made for.
Yeah, there's a bike down. So you got a bike on its side
There's a concourse.
there. Yeah. At that point, all you can do is look at it and have a drink. Because that guy just went by on a moped with both feet down. Because I've ridden in this kind of stuff. When James and I did the cross-country ride on the Mad Ass, we went not very far from here. We went to the top of Shrine Pass, which is extremely high elevation in the Rockies. And even though it was October, we were doing our ride, there was good snow at Shrine Pass, heavy good snow. So we took the Mad Ass up there and we were riding the Mad Ass around, but the Mad Ass has street tires on it.
Right.
And there was no hooking up. There was no anything. It was literally just putting your feet down and looking for the most packed snow there was to proceed through. A motorcycle is so ill designed for this. If I was going to go two wheels, my BW 350 or the BW 200 would be the only thing I would take. Yep. And I might consider fabricating a sidecar for it. Right. You know?
Well, I've seen in Russia, and these guys have outriggers with skis that they use on their bikes.
Absolutely.
They articulate and everything. It's crazy.
And that does seem to be a smarter idea than the motorcycles are just, in general, incredibly ill-suited for riding in deep snow. And even the Ural, I've had several rides on Urals in snow where all it does is dig two trenches. Because you can't turn a Ural left or right when the two-wheel drive is engaged because there's no limited slip.
I'm surprised you didn't see a bunch of timber sleds at that thing. You know, those guys with the dirt.
Look at this ice.
It's
there he goes.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah, back that up, man.
Sheet
that is
ice.
just, yeah.
It is.
Holy
that
mackerel.
is sheet ice. That guy doesn't have a
And he has
chance.
chains already.
Yeah. He's got chains on his tires. And he did not have a chance. Like, not for nothing. He didn't have a chance.
So he's on the ice and he's going to try to pick his bike up.
There's no way.
Yeah. No, yeah.
No
I mean, that's the other.
fucking
That's
way.
the other small feat. Is sure you might be able to pick that bike up on the dry ground, but how the hell do you even stand up?
So just look at the sheen when he comes up on this.
And I like that there's a 9,000-foot drop off to his
there it
left
is,
shoulder.
there. So
Right.
his,
The other guy made
Now, his
buddy
buddy
went
made
right
it through.
across it.
Yeah.
I want to know what his juju was.
He's like,
yeah.
He went too high. He went
Oh, now look at
Yes,
that. That's a
he
sheet
did.
of ice.
He
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
You're fucked. And you know, ice is soft when you land on it.
yeah.
Water's soft in all of its forms. You know, what are you talking about? It's just angry water.
Gas.
Yeah. Oh, the back tire's still engaged. The motor's still running. Back tire's still turning. Yeah, dude, you're proper fucked.
This stuff's super popular. That was posted 8 years ago, and it has 700 views.
Get the hell out of here, really?
Yeah.
We just viewed it twice.
Look at it.
Yeah.
He's sliding
Yeah.
his way down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Help.
You know what? Just lay on the bike and use it as a toboggan. At least the exhaust will be warm.
You can't even get back to it.
No, he can't get back to it. He literally has now left his bike, and now he can't get to his bike. Because it's so fucking slippery, dude man can't get to his bike.
What's his dude doing? He's coming back.
Oh, this is a bad scene. Oh, the dude who made, he's literally slipping on his feet. Did you see him?
Yeah.
He just slid backwards trying to walk to his bike. That is God's way of telling you to drink. Yeah. If you can't even get to your motorcycle, let alone pick it up, you just need to piss in a circle and hope for traction. Yeah. There is nothing you can do at that point. You are fucked. Yeah.
Wow.
2 pockets full of kitty litter.
Yeah.
Would have saved his ass right there. I'd have a 50-pound bag of kitty litter on the front in a distribution system.
Yeah.
Or
A
somebody
spreader.
on the front of my bike, just throwing kitty litter out in
Dude,
front.
a roll of carpet on the back, like a little skinny roll of
Yeah.
carpet. Lay it out,
Yeah.
a little traction.
Yeah, there you go. That's a very good idea. Call it the red carpet treatment. Just have a big roller on the front of your head, coming right out of the frame.
Goes on the top.
Just a big roller. And it's like one of those. Yeah, it's like one of those the hand towel things. It's just constantly rolling. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those since Corona. The old fucking use it. I dried, use it again.
Yeah, it's fine. Do it again. Yeah. I took one of those apart one time because I was like, this can't just be a 7-foot long piece of towel.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No. Okay.
No. It's like a 400 long foot piece of towel.
Oh.
So you pull towel down out of a roll on the front. And then there's a roll on the backside that rolls up the old
that's
towel.
huge. Okay.
And then you go in there and you change it, once a day or once a week or how many, dickheads you have in there.
Okay.
But when you pull those things, the towel part that you're getting is clean. It's fresh off the roll.
Okay. All right.
You can't get a dirty towel because that's stored on a different roll.
Gotcha.
But then when the attendant comes in and just rotates the roll around,
That's what I was thinking.
Well, he
now,
just turns it around.
He turns it around, exactly.
yeah.
So he'll do that 5 or 6 times until most of the blood stains aren't on it, and then you're
Ew.
good to go.
and at truck stops, you don't know what's on those things.
Again,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well,
Except at the Blue Heron.
just the brown stripe going down the entire 200 feet of one long brown
I'm
stripe.
more worried about the Oreo part that you're like, what's the white crusty
What's the
stuff?
white crusty cream in the middle? That's exactly right. Ooh, so scary. I don't. With the events that are happening this year, there is no level I know that a week ago or 2 weeks ago or a month ago, I said, you know what? I think I would do AMA Vintage Days. If they decided they were going to do it, I think I will do it. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Now they've made the decision for me. I don't have to weigh in hard and come in and look like an asshole. But the more that I see, it's pretty easy to do.
Are you going to make an effort if they say, okay, September 20th, we're doing it?
Yeah. I'll make an effort.
Point, depending on what's going on? Or?
Yeah, because what else have I got going on? Look, they've managed to cancel March, April, May, June, July, August, apparently. Theater Bazaar has canceled Theater Bazaar, which is in fucking October. Right. Give them credit for forward thinking. Do you know what? You know why? Theater Bazaar people? Science. They are all those Theater Bazaar people are all like, they're all science first.
But
they're
from
all
what I've heard, though,
right?
from what I've heard, there's enough diseases going around generally that you don't want to do it again with a whole new, like everybody's kind of immune to the diseases that are being spread between each other.
Okay.
At it now. So you don't want to add a new one to it.
All right. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
When Theater Bazaar, and as I said, what was the other one? The other one was the Juggalos. The Juggalos family reunion. When the motherfucking Juggalos say
cancel,
it's irresponsible to have this event.
So what we're saying is Shaggy 2 Dope is much better at science than El Cheeto. Just saying. Wow. Shaggy 2 Dope, the brainiac.
Yeah. It is, I mean, the Juggalo gathering. When you...
What is that all about?
Oh, well, Chris, I'm glad you asked.
Oh,
so, because...
You have a homework assignment. Go and watch American Juggalo.
Yeah. So...
That's a great documentary.
It's... Boy.
How do you describe it? How do you describe what a Juggalo is?
Well, the Juggalo is that, okay?
Yeah.
So, there's a group called the Insane Clown Posse.
ICP.
I've heard of that.
Okay. And so, people that are devotees of the Insane Clown Posse have identified themselves as juggalos. And
at one point was designated as a gang and to be arrested at any
on site. Yeah. Because clearly. But there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they have these, they don't call them rallies, they don't call them whatever. They call them gatherings.
Yep.
And they call them a family gathering because they all believe that they're in the same family. But the general tendency of the juggalos is to sip fago by gallons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of free range big girl boobs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
There is not a lot of people being real careful about their clothing or their spit or
and face painting.
Face painting is the
they're
thing.
All clowns.
They're all clowns.
They're all part of the clown
family. Insane clown posse. So they if you're gonna say they have a spirit animal, it's it's being clowning around, and their whole thing is that this group of people, this family of people, has made a decision to not have their event.
Yep.
And people whose if you don't think that looks like fun, you're wrong.
Yeah,
and I have seen.
To be fair, I have heard that, if you get past the outwardly appearance, which is their point, they want to scare people away.
Yes, of course it is.
They're actually, they have a good time. They have a good time. Yeah.
But their lineup of their Juggalo family reunions, their musical lineup is amazing.
A lot of times, but also I've seen where the family is so supporting of each other. Yeah. That you have a guy up there that's like
just sucking it up,
and
sucking rocks.
Still are just clapping,
and they'll just go for it, and they'll prop them up, right?
Yeah.
And so these guys, decided that it was irresponsible for them to hold their event. Now these guys are not in the high risk category; they tend to run younger on the spectrum. Okay. When this guy in the picture right there, when that
He's
dude
in a high risk category.
right there, when that dude is saying, no, I think that getting together and having a family event, a gathering, is unsafe behavior. When that dude says that this is unsafe behavior, and Sturgis is like, bring on the money,
right?
Don't go to Sturgis,
right?
Because clearly it's bring on the money,
right? And a side note about these dudes, I'm not a fan or anything like that. I've heard a couple things, but to their credit, the band that started this whole movement, They turned down a bunch of major label things because they didn't think the offers were good, and they built this whole thing. So like they've never been on a record label.
Right.
They've always put their own stuff out. They developed all this own shit. So I give them credit for that at least.
I do too.
Yeah.
And it is important that there's this kind of thing going on, and that this group, you know, the Burning Man mentality, because these guys are not generally currency driven. They're not. And there are sponsors who every year try to get involved and make a bunch of money based on this, and just like Burning Man and everything else. But they try to keep it pretty pure. When you have events like Sturgis, let's just say it. Sturgis is the money-making event for that Black Hills, South Dakota.
Oh, yeah.
And when you take the Sturgis away, you take away their one event of the year that they can make money, just like we were talking about our friends at the Isle of Man. You know, when you take away the Isle of Man TT, and pretty much all the races of the summer, what the fuck? I mean, there's not enough money in sheep.
Well, I heard a really, and God, I wish I could remember where I heard this, but there was an argument recently. It was just on like, you know, just it wasn't even super political. It was just talking about the situation, right?
Yeah.
And they were talking about the money that came out and went to everybody.
Right.
And they were like, a lot of these giant businesses that like, you know, the $410 million they got, you know, is like a penny to their account. You know, that supposedly helps stimulate the economy. But one of the guys said, well, what about all these big events? Why couldn't they have done something where they stimulated these big events, like places like Sturgis or places like, you know, whatever, whoever was going to hold this thing or something where they were counting on that, and now it's gone.
Right.
And so by giving those people money, you're keeping that whole area afloat. But more importantly, they didn't have the event, so now you're not spreading the virus.
You're not spreading the virus. It is a two-win.
Yeah,
it really is.
Compared to giving a big multi-billion-dollar company a few extra bucks.
Yep.
Like
and a big multi-billion-dollar company that has identified itself like McDonald's, who has identified itself, well, McDonald's isn't just McDonald's, you know, we lease property, but, you know, all of these McDonald's companies are small businesses.
Yeah, right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
And that's why you get a $4 million check, and that's why, you know, our payroll protection program here at the shop was $27,000. But you know what we did? We never laid anybody off. We kept everybody working. We did pay everybody through, even though our retail sales numbers in the showroom, well, guess what? If I'm only letting 2 people or 4 people in my shop at a time, guess what I'm not selling? A whole lot of the shit that's surrounding us on the walls.
Right.
And we are selling bikes, there's no doubt about that. And certain bikes we're selling the fuck out of, and that's cool. But we did look at our numbers today, and a lot of people that are saying, oh, we're doing great. Well, we're doing great compared to what we thought we would be doing, which is 0.
Right.
And for a lot of our friends whose businesses were burned or businesses were looted or businesses were in a state like Michigan or Pennsylvania where they weren't allowed to be open and selling shit because they were non-essential, those guys did squatoosh, to use your term, right? And I got my buddies who are in those places that when I'm like, oh, you know what? We did great. We sold 18 bikes last month. And they go, yeah, we sold 0. Well, shit, man. I feel pretty bad for those guys right now because they're not having the effect of we can socially distance and buy a motorcycle.
Right.
Because they're not allowed to sell motorcycles in their state. So it's a very interesting thing. I cannot predict what this is going to look like when the money runs out. Because don't you think it's a bookkeeping exercise? That if you have an economy of 100 people, and if 20 of those people are suddenly not working, and they're drawing no income, but the other 80% are still drawing the income they were drawing before, but they're not spending it in the manner that they used to be spending it.
Yeah, because they're worried. Yeah, right.
Though the 80% are going to have a lot more money because their expenses are going to be minimized, whereas the 20%, though, are in really fucking bad shape right now because a lot of places do not cater to that. Certain types of service providers will not handle cash. They will only transact business with you via credit card. Well, some people don't have good credit and they don't have a credit card.
Right.
And for those people that don't have a credit card, even providing a meal for your family in the evening can be tough to do when the Aldi by me won't accept cash.
Right.
So it puts a really big burden on the people that may not have a credit card to be able to go in and purchase things. We're not properly geared up for this. And the rules that were put in place hurt a lot of people in ways that they never could have imagined. And I feel really bad for folks who are in that position. And a lot of things are weird right now. A lot of things like, if you worked at the Title Bureau, well, your job changed. If you worked for the State Bureau of Motor Vehicles or something, your job changed dramatically. I don't know if I would feel safe if I had the job of being a police officer right now. I don't know if I'd want to continue having that job at the moment. And I also know that if I was a server or I worked anywhere in the restaurant industry, if I would feel safe if I had a couple of kids at home and, a sick wife or a sick mom, I don't know if I feel safe going to work so I could put the food on your table for 1/10 of the customers I would normally have.
Right.
So I'm still getting paid my $6 an hour minimum wage or less if you're a server. And my whole income is based on tips, but now I'm getting 1/10 of the tips I used to get. Well, shit, dude. Am I going to go in and risk my life for $500 a week?
Did you happen to see there was a server that posted something like, hey, when you come in and you don't tip in situations like this, let me tell you about my day.
Right.
And she kind of breaks it down to the fact, she's like, I bring out the plates and I try to take their order, but fuck, I forgot silverware. So I have to go and change my gloves because I can't use the same gloves to get the other silverware and get that and bring it out. Oh, crap. The guy asked for a glass of water and I didn't get it. Now I have to go change my gloves again and go get the water and come back. And it was like, this to serve this one thing, it was like 25 paragraphs about how much shit this person had to do. They can't breathe because of this. The lady won't wear a mask. She's coughing all over the place. And she's like, I have kids.
Exactly.
It was terrible. It was hard
and
to
it's
read.
a high risk. And nobody says that. You're like, okay, well, you're in the military. You're a frontline hospital worker. You're a paramedic. Right. Yeah, there's a very fucking high risk environment. But God damn it, these days, if you're a server, if it turns out that what's happening is real, right now it is more dangerous to be a fucking server than it is to be in the military. Yeah. Because the stores are open, the restaurants are open, and people are coming into them. But you have no way of determining how healthy those people are. None. And it's a very risky thing. So I feel really bad for people that are in the position where they have to work that job so they can feed their family. And I want to go support them, but I also know that me going to support them is actually part of the problem. Fuck me running. What's the out for the guy who cares? What's the solution for the guy who wants to give a shit? Right.
Still be in business.
Yeah, it's a really tough one for us. And being that we are motorcycle enthusiasts, we want to share the love. Has anybody thought about just doing a weird thing, I know, but jumping on your motorcycle, if you can, and fucking off into the woods or fucking off into the hinterlands with a tent? Because one, I'm going to tell you, it is really easy to get a hotel room right now. It is really, really easy to go tell. But if you were concerned and you didn't want to be around people that you didn't know or trust or had experience with, you'd probably want to sleep in a tent. This is the weather for it. This is the season for it.
Perfect. Yeah, that is true. Nobody's used it but you.
That's right.
Nobody's touched
it's your
it.
tent, dude, right? So, yeah, fucking off on a motorcycle and fucking off into the hinterlands and going to, oh, look, that looks pretty.
Yep.
I got to imagine this would be a really good time to be the guy on a very low budget cross-country motorcycle trip.
Yeah.
It does seem like this would be the perfect opportunity for that because I can't imagine right now that Officer Handy is going to be too interested in fucking with you at this point because, your big sin is that you're in a pup tent along this creek, And I also can't imagine that if you happen to be in one of our national parks, that you can worry about the entirety of the ranger force falling down in on you and, getting boots to your brain because you happen to be in your $49 Sears and Roebuck pup tent next to the creek, right?
Sears and Roebuck.
They made the best. I didn't crack out the old Hillary reference, but but it feels to me like if you wanted to be a motorcycle vagabond right now, this would be a pretty good time to do it.
Gas
Especially
prices are $2 a gallon.
Gas is $2 a gallon. You can grow your beard and just be confused for a vagrant. So yeah, it is a very interesting thing.
So with that in mind,
well, I know Liza and Jim are taking off on a cross-country, fuck you adventure, like they're renting an RV or something and putting a trailer behind a couple of bikes. But I don't know if anybody else has any plans for just wayward fuck-off motorcycle adventures.
I was going to get a red tutu and
and show up at a Juggalos event. Just show up at a Juggalos gathering to play apparently pinata.
Big ass pinata.
Yeah, big ass pinata. So
I would pay to see Mr. Smith in a Juggalo outfit.
Ooh.
It would be good, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It would be
In a
awesome.
tutu?
I would think
Okay.
that would be pretty fucking tight. It would be the best way to
Tight.
like a toy guy.
Like a toy guy.
Yeah, exactly. I would love that. I don't think. I mean,
Chris, can we get a whoop whoop?
Baby.
So I saw that people were posting about Bandcamp, and Sleepy kind of mentioned earlier about that. And a lot of people said, I'm going to go there. Screw it. If there's no one there, at least it's going to be me in a tent and just staying there.
yeah.
That doesn't sound that bad, actually. The fact that what you're saying right now, I mean, you can put your tent wherever you want.
I know, man.
I mean, it doesn't have to be just that location, but just
Right.
in general, it's not a bad idea.
It's a
Just
nice
do that.
spot. I mean, it's a nice spot to camp out. I know that a friend of mine, Joe, is having his wedding on the weekend after the 4th of July, right? And it's it's an outdoor wedding. So there's a lot of space and people can wander around. There is a building there with air conditioning, so the old people that are coming, to celebrate his wedding, and I'll be officiating, so I have to be there, right? And I'm going, and there are people. Our friends from Chicago are coming in. They're renting a camper for the thing,
Nice.
and there is something about that. You're camping. You're out in the woods. So you are definitely social distancing. Now, once the liquor sets in, I don't know if people are still going to be social distancing. That's when I might have to bring out the cattle prod and just be like, I know you love me, but
You should make a new officiant hat
Yes.
that has like
Yeah.
dingle balls that are 6 feet out.
6 feet out.
But it's
Yeah.
part of
Right.
whatever your
Yeah,
officiation
it
is.
could be. Yeah,
right.
that's it. I could just have a giant
Some
pentagram hat.
Pool
Yeah,
noodles.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is that kind of thing where you're like, okay, why can't or why wouldn't we just as a gaggle or just as a random smattering, just be like, hey, you get together and fuck off. Steve's got it right. If you see the pictures from Steve's cabin
Yeah, we were supposed to
in
be
upstate New York,
this month. He was like,
Yeah.
let's go. He kept saying, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
We never went.
it doesn't work for me. Turns out I can't leave my business in June.
Yeah.
At all. I know when Oscar and I broke away last year for 10 days, 11 days, it was lucky for us that, I had the crew here that could handle it. My wife was here. She was helping out. And that's obviously not going to happen this year. But going away for a month is only a trick my wife can pull because school principals do get the summer off.
Yeah, right.
So she can go fuck off for a month. But
Well, you could do it. You're just not sure that this would be here when you got back.
yeah, no shit, right? Yeah. And it would be here, but would I recognize it?
Yeah, right.
And honestly, would James and Renee let me come back?
Well, that would be it. It would be.
I'd come back, put my key in the door, and it wouldn't work.
Right.
That's it.
James and Renee's Moto Haven.
Well, and I would also there'd probably be 2 unemployment checks waiting for me. Look, we filed for your unemployment. You got the extra $600 a week.
There
I
you
don't know
go.
what you're mad about. You've never made so much money.
And then the following week,
yeah.
all your bikes that are still here, you'd get a storage fee.
I would get a storage bill for my own shit. I knew it. They're plotting against me. And I would not be the least bit surprised.
Right.
And the shop would be running flawlessly. There's no doubt.
As it
They
does.
do a wonderful job when I'm not here. So yeah, none of that would shock me. And I don't think for a second they would hesitate to do it. I think they would just be like, well, Phil's gone. The rule is, I guess, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if I'm ever gone for more than 2 weeks in the on season, that's complete dereliction of duty.
Guys, I'm back. That's impossible. He's dead.
That's AWOL.
We claimed your life insurance policy, motherfucker. Yeah, I do
It's
have
right here. 2 weeks of no contact.
I do
dead.
have a life insurance policy that is actually Renee's the benefactor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's
Oh, boy.
when we took our trip to Australia, I put a weird rider in there, like if we died in transit, like in public transportation, they're going to be like, no, Phil died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw these $100 bills at you until you leave.
See, man, I don't know if I could have somebody with a life insurance policy that was for me. Because anytime she'd hand me food,
Oh,
or
yeah.
a beverage or
Right.
something, I'd be like,
You'd be like, I don't know, man.
I know. Wait, did you open this? Why is this open? I don't
Yeah.
want an open one.
Where's
Give
the
me-
seal?
Is that what strychnine tastes like? Is that what strychnine smells like? Does this smell like chloroform? I don't want to leave the shop for that long, but I can totally understand the appeal, and I do like the idea of going out to the mountains somewhere.
That's a great. Has anybody ever smelled chloroform? Like, and talk about it? Like, what's chloroform smell like? I don't know.
I made it. There's a recipe.
Really?
So yeah, there's a recipe for making chloroform, and I made some. And of course, once you make chloroform, you have to try it.
What was that book? We were in high school about the same time. Everybody used to get the punk rock. It had how to make everything from acid.
I
to
don't
bombs
necessarily
to...
want to say it because I'm pretty sure that will put us on a list.
Oh, okay, yeah, but you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
Right? The book. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
right. So yeah, that's yeah. We're not going to say it.
No, but there's a book that has.
There's a book.
Anything you want to know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to say it though. Because I
Moving
just don't need to end up on that list or like just to be like, oh, great.
Yeah,
you know?
thanks.
Steve's already on that list.
Oh, I've been on a couple. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine, but that's one of those things that you just don't need to say like, oh, I heard about this on the Cleveland Moto Podcast,
right.
and then next thing you know,
Weep, weep.
No,
yeah,
once when I was
FBI.
when I was reviewing like cinema drone parts, like the $20,000-$30,000 big rigs, they'd come from China sometimes, and the tracking would be like on the way. Be there Tuesday, and then it would just disappear for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it would just reappear.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the UPS driver was not a UPS driver. It was a dude in a black shirt.
Yeah,
and black
exactly.
thing with the thing dropping it off and like kind of looking at me and sign here, sir.
Never mind the fact that there's no original packaging material left at all,
right.
and it smells a lot like a CAT scanner.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it was interesting.
Why is there dog spit all over my device? We've had every dog we know lick this motherfucker, and it turns out it's not a bomb.
Right.
Aw, that's too bad. Government boys are getting angry. They can't do their job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is something that I enjoy the thought of. Just be like, fuck it. Just show up at a place that you like a lot and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just show up and just be like, well, I'm here now. So that is an idea, and that's something that I've been thinking about. I've just been like, well, and the only problem is realistically, what's keeping me from doing it is my wife normally fucks off for 2 or 3 months during this time of the year. Mm-hmm. And so I can, go have events because I'm not missing out on her, obviously.
Right.
But I'm seriously thinking about my favorite time to do things is September and October because we slow down here, and it's my favorite. The weather is my favorite type of the weather.
Yeah.
So I'm seriously formulating a plan where I can just jump on an motorcycle or jump in a van with a motorcycle in the back and go fuck off and just go ride places I've never ridden before. There's whole parts of this country. I have never been significantly in Maine. I've driven like the corner of Maine when I was like going through Montreal and Quebec and stuff, coming back the fast way. But I would really like to ride in that part of the country, in that part of the world. So
it is neat, like when you start traveling on a bike to see how much shit changes.
Yeah.
Like just in Ohio.
Yeah.
Like when you're above Columbus, roads are straight, boring, maybe a hill or two,
right,
slight turn. You get 30 minutes past Columbus, and everything turns into 90-degree angles.
Yeah.
You can't. There is no straight.
Right, and that is I was doing that the other day. I was down in Marietta, so I was doing a delivery down in Marietta, and it was really funny because it was a delivery that's way the fuck off the beaten path, and it was really fun because I'm driving these roads and it's all fucking super fun and super twisty, and I'm doing it in like the F-150, with the bike in the back. But it was still fun. Yeah, it didn't stop being fun for a fucking second. It was great.
And you can tell people that grew up there because they don't give a shit.
Oh,
they're so used to those roads.
Yeah, they're hanging it out in like a $300 car.
Yeah.
It's literally a Dodge Ram with fenders that are flapping, and they're hanging a little further out the door to make the left. They're just throwing the gravity off just a little bit. Yeah, they're leaning into the turns. So yeah, super fun and super cool. I gotta love that shit. I want to see if there's any fresh emails for us, because what the hell? Why not? Anybody else got any motorcycle related news or fun shit? What you been up to, Oscar?
Working from home still. Man. That's been fun. Not really. Sucks ass.
Like, is your company still really busy?
It's deemed essential, so we kind of keep going full steam ahead, but it's still.
But you're running on Steam now.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, as much as I shit on the fact of actually I'm working from home, I'm not looking forward to actually going back to the office either.
Yeah, a lot of offices and a lot of companies are making this decision right now that they don't need the building they're paying for.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies...
They figured it out.
Yeah, they figured it out. And so if you own a house already and you have a place in that house where you clearly have proven in the past 90 days that you can work, why do they need to pay their rent in this big building that's just a cubicle farm, right? And So you can get rid of the cubicle farm. I'm actually counting on that because I think there's going to be this bleed of vacancies. And so what I need is a 4,000 to 10,000 square foot warehouse building. And what I'm hoping is there's going to be a lot of landlords that aren't getting paid. And that eventually there's going to be something that's the shape and size and location that I need that I'll be able to purchase and just own. So,
and each one of the bikes you park there will have its own
cubicle. Cubicles. There'll already be all these cubicles in there. Because you know what? Nobody wants nobody wants a used cubicle.
Oh, and think about it. Outlets for all your battery.
Plenty of outlets. Outlets everywhere.
Cables for each of them.
I met a dude who all he does, his whole living, is he goes in and takes out old cubicles and installs new cubicles that do the exact same job, but they have a different texture. Because textures have to change in offices like every 6 years or something. Right?
Did you see that there's a company that makes giant Lego blocks for that very purpose? So you get these giant Lego blocks, and then you can build your cubicles with different colors and stuff. But at any time, if you want to change it, it's Lego blocks. You just take them apart and put them back together.
Yeah, I did not know this job existed. The guy clued me into it. He's like, this is what I do. He goes, I work at night. You know, what I'll do is I go in at night and I'll change out the cubicles in like half of this cubicle farm.
Right.
And then I'll come in the next night and I'll change out the other half. And that's all we do is we have hand trucks and shit and we move all these steel items out into our truck and we move out 10 truckloads of shit and we bring in $1 million worth of new cubicles.
What's the show with the idiots that work at a telemarketing job?
Yeah, well.
It was really famous. It's funny. But they found that out. They decided to sneak into their work and do mushrooms.
Yeah.
And then the guys came in to change all the
cubicles.
And then they're all fucking, they think they're being attacked by Russians and stuff.
So Dave Osterday sent us a message. He goes, episode or two ago, you guys talked about the expenses of old Goldwing maintenance. Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
And it's maddening. Curious about your thoughts on the newest generation of Goldwings. Debated topic. My house currently, and I love my small and mid-sized bikes to scoot around town, but I want to be able to distance travel too up. So here's, at the AIM Expo last year, I got to take a really nice, really, really long ride on the brand new Goldwing, the ABS automatic transmission, DCT, everything except the airbag, or I think it did have the airbag. Goldwing.
Was it the F6B?
No, it was not the F6B. It was the actual real Goldwing, like the full-on, as much money as you can spend. Yeah. Reverse, I mean, the whole thing, it was spectacular. And in my ride, if you look at the YouTube video, it did not have landing gear, but I'm pretty sure that's an option. Press the button, and they're in the shape of little gold wings. They have little gold wings on them. I took the thing out and I fucking loved it. And we were driving in garbage, stop and go traffic, tons of detours, construction areas, and the DCT worked flawlessly. Everything on the bike was comfortable. The stereo was easy to figure out. The music was good. Like the audio level was fantastic. It had the adjustable windshield. The motorcycle was $32,000, I think, and it was spectacular. But here's the thing. I don't buy anything at the MSRP level. I buy things that are 9 years old. Certain motorcycles can make it to 9 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know if 9 years old or 10 years old is a dynamic that the engineers explored because that sounds like not my fucking problem. Right. And with BMWs that we've had, you know, the Monster, the K1600 and various different BMWs we've had around here that are brilliant flagships of technology and handling and adjustable suspension and you know, all these great things, but they're also 11 miles of wire and CAN bus systems that get a little freaky if the wrong bulb is where it shouldn't be. And shit where diagnostic of a problem could be a moist fuse block is the least of your fucking problems, right? And stuff where the ABS controller system demands to have its fluid changed every 2 years on a cool day when the sun is in the west, exactly, and the barometric pressure is not over 42. Because these motorcycles are now triumphs of technology. They really are. You know, when I sat on my first Goldwing, that when I turned the key on, there was a little display that came up and said, hello, Harley Eater. And I looked at my buddy Rich and I was like, did you program your own graphics into your little 2-bit computer display on your Goldwing? Yeah, I did.
I did, yeah.
Because he had the first generation of those 1800s that were rocket ships. I mean, they were insanely fast. But that bike, as fast as it was and as well as it handled, it was also a nightmare to own past that 5 or 6 or 7 year mark. And so I would say that if you have the means and you can afford to go out and swing a big enough dick to buy a 1 or 2 year old wing, go right ahead because they're fucking awesome, man. It rides great. It handles great.
But also, if you have enough money that like, you have money laying around and you can buy a 7 or 8 year one, you can just take it to a shop and be like, fix it.
No, you can't because most shops I know of will be like, no, I'm not fucking you. So if I'm not fucking you, I'm not going to work on that bike. There needs to be an ulterior motive other than $90 an hour to make me work on a 10-year-old Goldwing, right?
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true because I could earn $90 an hour doing a very easy job, right? Or I could earn $90 an hour replacing 12 inches of wiring harness that I have to go in through the rectum to get to. And take apart half the motorcycle, or spend a week and a half troubleshooting it, which I'm not getting paid enough for, just to go in and find that one little wire that's rubbing on the other wire.
Do you ever think that they'd have like sectioned wire harnesses where like you just have like the front, mid, side, whatever, and then
that's the idea behind CAN bus.
Right, but do they have it though?
No, they don't. And the idea behind CAN buses really makes sense because it's like having a when you look at a wiring diagram, what does it look like? It looks like a subway map, right? So a wiring diagram looks like a subway map. And because the subway systems can tell you where the train is stopped.
Right.
They don't send a train down the line if there's a train on the line coming the other way or whatever because they've got little feedback units that send you and keep people from dying. CAN bus is the exact same way. It sends a data signal out, and not only does the data signal go out, but when the data signal returns, how much of the voltage is left and how much of the signal is left after it goes and does its job is an indication of if everything is nominal.
Right.
So the idea being that your little computer can tell you your left front turn signal is not working.
Right.
Because of the strength of the power signal that comes back. It can tell you things like your brake light is not functioning. Right. Because there's not, the numbers aren't what they should be. And the theory behind that is then you have a warning light, but your warning light also tells you where the trouble is.
Right. So it gives you a starting point.
And that's infinitely better than having a goddamn MIL light, a check engine light on, and just saying, good luck, pal. Or like an OBD1 thing where it's like, okay, turn the key 17 times and count the flashes.
Right.
Okay, I got 3 long flashes, 2 short flashes, and 2 beeps. Okay, let me get out the book. And according to that, I fucked up and bought a Mexican Volkswagen. Right. Because I've been through that, man. You haven't been living until you troubleshoot a 1990 Volkswagen Golf GTI.
City, yeah.
Right. Because that is a German car made in Mexico. Yeah. And they were never happy with that. Like that deal never worked out right. And you're like, why at 75 miles an hour does my car quit running? It just stopped running at 75 miles an hour. And it always did it. At the worst times, it would just stop running. Do you know what it was? A seatbelt sensor.
Oh, wow.
A seatbelt sensor in this car vexed me. I had the wiring harness apart 9 times. There is no mill light for that. There is no OBD1 flash unit for the little wire in your seatbelt sensor is broken or braided or chafed or something. And so at 75 miles an hour, and it was hilarious. You could look at the speedo and be like, okay, well, we've been driving for about 45 minutes. We've gone 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. That's fine. But there's a point. And you're like, okay, watch. 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, and it's dead. Pull off to the side of the road. Get out of the car, open the hood, check the battery terminals, check everything else, slam the hood, get back in the car, start it up, it's fine. Yeah. If it restarts. Sometimes it didn't restart. Do you know, I had to sell the car to the guy, and I was just like, look, 75, not always the thing to do.
Yeah.
But
80, fine.
Right. But I never did fix it. We could never figure it out.
I had an 84 Golf 4-door.
Yeah.
And I had the P series wheels on it.
Yeah.
I was into it. It was like 1990 something. And it had some kind of a leak at the top that when it rained, the sunroof would automatically open. So
Get the fuck out
even
of
if
here.
the car
So
was
as soon as it
off,
rained,
the
sunroof
water would
opened.
get there and just open the
It was
door.
basically a seat watering system. It was like a grow house.
So basically, on the inside, I came to find out
Yeah.
that the switch that was up there that you used to open and close it,
Right.
so it had the seal had broken, and the water where it was going would just dump right onto that
Shorting
switch.
to the switch.
Of course
Short
it
it,
did.
and then it would just open the sunroof.
Oh, that bastard. Oh, that's just rotten.
I found it out driving one on the highway. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man?
I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, that's just
It was funny.
That's
It was
evil.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's evil. I don't. So buying a 5-year-old. My buddy works on Audis. Our friend is an excellent Audi mechanic, and he says the same thing. He's like, look, 5 years. So basically, the payment term, 5 to 7 years. That's the sweet spot for an Audi. So buy it when it's 5 years old. Get rid of it before its 7th birthday, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because after that, the expensive shit starts breaking.
Audis are notorious for that stuff.
Yeah.
Once it goes bad, you can't bring it back.
And it is funny. It's like a dog that has the taste of human blood. It's just going to fuck you over forever. Like it's
just never
such a
comes
rotten
back.
system. Yeah, it's pretty bad. What is this here? Oh, have we got some more? He's been all right. Watermark. He says, "All right, happy fucking Friday." Today at 9, so just a few minutes ago, Matt Davidson says, "Think of that watermark as an established on date." Hope that fucking hits you right in the middle of the podcast. Oh, you motherfucker, Matt Davidson. It does. Okay. So he's talking about the watermark on that picture of that woman he sent me. Right?
Oh,
Yeah. And that watermark we were talking about was from September 8th of 1998.
98.
Yeah. So he does make a comment, and he says that picture, he says, think of that watermark as an established on date. Established on.
Oh, burnt birth date.
No, she's at least, look at her age in the picture. She's not 0
that
years
one.
old. She's not 0 years. It's established on. I don't know what established on. I think established on probably means when he had carnal knowledge of that girl.
I forgot
I
about
think
that
that's what it
picture.
was. I think that was the date he had carnal knowledge of her.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think that's what that was. I don't think that was I don't think that was the established on. So that's cool.
So wait, let's think about this. What was that? 98? You said?
yeah,
And
98.
she's about 20 something.
She's 22 years older than she was in that picture.
Yeah. So
Right?
like, we're talking.
So if she was 20 then, she's 42 now.
yeah.
Exactly. Right. That's fine. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So that's
Completely irrelevant, but funny.
I think it's really funny. I absolutely dig that. Oh God. And another one of our podcast listeners sent us a picture of himself drinking Malort.
Good man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Malort.
Yeah. So he sent himself a picture of us drinking the Malorts.
Can I ever tell you that the rest of the bottle that I took home, I finished off on a Sunday, just sitting there drinking Malort, man,
It's and this is Kevin from
by
Kansas.
myself.
Kevin, I think he's doing the same thing. It's Kevin from Kansas City, and he sends this thing. He's like,
Throw it
"Son,"
up on the screen.
he's I don't know if
No,
I
it's on
can
the
from
phone.
this device, but anyway, he sends us a thing, and he's like, he sends a little thing. It says, "Son, one day you'll be a man." And he goes, "Dad, I'm 32," and he says, "Son, my Vespa does more miles in a week than your motorcycle does all summer." Fair game, right? I saw you rode the BV tonight.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did. It's like, goddamn, can't keep a big scooter down, can you?
Nope.
No, big fun.
You know what it is? Sometimes, like, you just don't feel like shifting.
Right. Yeah. It's true. I know it.
Yeah.
Happens to be all the time.
Yeah.
When I think about what I'm going to ride home, a lot of times I'll be leaving here and I'll be like, oh, God damn it, I don't want to drive a vehicle home. I don't want to drive a car home. Don't want to drive a truck home. Just want to fucking ride a bike home.
Yep.
And then I'm like, well, what do I want to ride? And it's funny because I'm like, okay, well, the Harley's close to the door and it's pointing out. So I can get, but I can't sneak it through the man door. It's got to go out the garage door.
yeah.
So that could be a problem depending on what's in the service bay, right? But yeah, there's a lot of times where I'm like, all right, well, zeros.
Yep.
The zeros just effortless, man. It's just, it's a time travel device.
and go.
So yeah, many times I'll just launch a zero.
It is.
And it's one of those things. It's like, I didn't want to shift gears today.
And I'm sure the Zero is the same because they're speedy.
Mm-hmm.
But to this day, it's been, a year now?
Yeah.
And I put 4,000 miles on the bike.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I still get a grin every time I crack that thing
Yeah.
and pass somebody.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
like, this shouldn't do this.
Dude, I passed you on a fucking scooter.
Yeah. It just, there's something
Yeah.
about it. It's just
Yeah.
fun, man.
So Kevin from Kansas City sends us this great picture. He's drinking a Corona as he's taking a year to grow a mullet. So, God love you, Kevin. You're taking a year to grow a fucking mullet. Right on.
Cam's going to be jealous.
Well,
that's what he's been doing.
And so this is a week later. Kevin's doing great with the mullet, and he's drinking the Malort. Yeah. So well done, Kevin. That mullet is looking very proud. And I do think that Malort tastes like the dirt you dig out from under the fingernails of a Polish resistance fighter. Yeah.
To me, it tasted, when I got into it, is because I was racing cyclocross.
Yeah.
And it was in the mud.
Yeah.
And so it just tasted like the mud that you're already in your mouth. So
it is a very weird organic flavor to it. I don't like it.
It's mossy. It's a mossy, like an oaky, mossy.
Mossy. Fuck no, dude. It tastes like a litter box. Yeah. It just... It doesn't.
So by organic, you mean shitty, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Then
I
agree.
It does. It just doesn't taste good. It tastes like.
I like it, man.
Yeah. That was last year at band camp for my 50th birthday.
Do you know what Malort is? The what's the shit that people put on tacos that some people can't stand?
Sriracha.
No. The green
Cilantro.
Sorry.
Yeah, because some people.
Right. I was thinking cilantro, but I said
think
sriracha.
Malort is the cilantro of alcohol. Because some people are kind of like, I like it, and some people are like, I can't fucking stand this stuff.
No, I think that Malort is something that people have trained themselves to lie about liking.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a fake it till you make it thing.
Yes.
But would I do that? Then how would I on Sunday sit by myself and drink a half a bottle of Malort?
Yeah, but there's
a lot of reasons for that.
There's like people that stick metal rods up their dick and then hit it with like a hammer, and
they're not drinking.
And the first guy that tried that wasn't like, oh, wow.
Let me try that again.
It's effervescent. No, you had to work up to that shit, you know. And that's the way I feel about the Malort. It is just not. No time have I ever had Malort, and like people I love, Derek and Selena, for my birthday last year, they said, "Does anybody want to place an order of Malort from Chicago because that's where it comes from, right?" And I said, I would like -1 bottle, please. Like that means if you see me holding one, you can take it from me, right? And I was like, I would like -1 bottle. And so these guys, not wanting to know whether or not they caught the joke right, and Derek and Selena are very smart people, and they didn't catch the joke right. Like they were like, we're not sure, so we're going to bring them a bottle no matter what. And so very early in the game on Friday night, I was handed a bottle of Malort. And when the rule is, if somebody hands you a bottle, you open it, you drink it to show your appreciation. You don't take the bottle and leave the seal and be like, I'm going to save this to give it to somebody else later. Thank you very much. You've made my shopping for the next event that much easier. It ain't a fucking gift card, man. And I don't care what it is. You take a drink because you're a sport.
Yep.
And they gave it to me, and I took a big pull on that bottle, and I was like, oh, fuck, man, I'm going to be drunk, aren't I? Because that's the thing with Malort. You can battle drunkenness if it's your team. Like if you know the game and you know the field, you can battle drunkenness. You can be like, I know these stages of this drunkenness. I know the gates. You know, I've unlocked the locks. I've cracked the seals. I know where I am. But with Malort, you're like, that just fucks you up because that's just a pit. That's literally just a pit that you didn't know was there. It's a Burmese tiger trap.
So what you're saying is if you find Phil at an event and he's like double fist in the fucking bottle of Malort sucking it down, that's the time to ask you to buy one of your bikes.
Well, first of all, it's not me. I mean, first of all, that is not me. That's a guy wearing a Phil Waters shirt who's clearly not fucking me, right? Yeah. That's an imposter, as we call that. Yeah, that's a stolen.
Go ahead and ask him what the price of the
That's
bike
a stolen
is.
valor asshole. Yeah, he's probably trying to sell you something I own. But yeah,
it's not
fuck him. Yeah, fuck that guy. Because no, I don't ever sit there and two-fist the Malort.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Malort should only be something you give to other people to watch them drink it.
But that was my point.
What's the flavor profile of Malort?
Garbage.
You've never had it?
Trash fire?
It's hard to compare it to anything else.
Is it like
it
Fernet?
No. It is equally strong.
Right.
It is equally. Fuck you! It is equally like just anger face.
When you first have it, you go, there's no way that somebody made this on purpose.
It is, I gotta have it. Vicks Formula 44D. Formula 44D. You know it. You know it when you get sick and you have to drink it. NyQuil tastes better than Formula 44D, right? So NyQuil tastes better.
And it has that
Yes. And that Formula 44D has that mouthiness to it. You're like, being sick isn't worth it.
Yeah.
And that's their trick, is to not people just drink a lot of 44D, is to make it really like, it tastes terrible, right?
Yep.
And so Malort, though, has that same flavor profile. It is very much like it tastes to me very much like many other strong liquors put together, and it is very akin to a Schliebowitz kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Schliebowitz, I'm not joking, was filtered through a potted plant.
And potted plant, I don't know that flavor profile.
Flavor
profile.
But have you ever accidentally licked a brick?
Eating dirt.
Right. Have you ever fallen off your bicycle? Off your bicycle and got a mouthful of dirt?
Yeah.
That's what it tastes like. Have you ever pulled your shop vac out of the garage, right? And forgotten that the last time you used the shop vac, it was to clean up some stuff out of the bottom of your chimney or something, or there. And when you turned the shop vac on, it blasted out of the gazauta valve just a cloud of dirty, nasty shit that's been in the shop vac for the past 3 years. That's what Malort tastes like.
Or how about this? One of those days when we were riding and it was 1,000 degrees and everybody was complaining about being hot and you had your boots on.
Yeah.
And you got home after a 9-hour ride and you took those socks and you made tea with them.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of a Malort,
and then
kind of a...
added that tea to
where does this come
80 proof alcohol.
You're the one that asked the question, man.
I just thought it'd be a simple question.
No, because it's such a... It's hard to describe.
It's unique.
It's an odd flavor. Okay.
It's
It is, at the minimum, it is a very strange flavor to me.
Once you have it, you will never mistake it for anything
Agreed.
else.
Yeah, agreed.
Anything else.
Positive or negative?
No, negative.
I mean, I like it. I like it.
because you said that you drank a whole bottle by yourself in the bathtub naked or something like that.
Yeah. In a bloody bath. It was,
It's a wormwood-based schnapps.
Yes.
It has an undefinable... I love this. It has an undefinable unsavoriness. The fact that they use the term undefinable unsavoriness. Two uns in a row is always a... Yeah.
But look at the last part. Is an even greater challenge to communicate.
Yes, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
It was deemed a medicinal alcohol.
Really?
Yeah. So it
cures you of alcohol.
Became an Andersonville mainstay during Prohibition. It was legal as it was deemed a medicinal alcohol.
You give that to a drunk.
I love that.
Going to church on Sunday.
A medicinal alcohol. We assume it's the miracle cure for my mouth tastes too normal and good right now. Yeah, and as they said, the logo is tattooed on way too many biceps in Logan Square.
Oh,
You're exactly right. This is the official drink of Chicago, and like we said,
especially bike messengers.
Yes,
bike
exactly.
messengers live on this.
People learn how to drink this shit and lie about liking it, because really, it's not like it has it's a 35% alcohol content, so it's 70 proof, It's not like it's insanely strong or anything. It comes in a few percentage points below most bourbons and whiskeys and everything else. But it is very much I
got it.
Terrible. Go ahead.
It's the dominatrix of liquor. Because it goes and it kicks your dick, and for some reason you're like, you know what? I think I want to go and have that done again.
No, it's the dominatrix of liquor that you the next day find out was a 52-year-old
dude.
Guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because nothing with Malort is ever better the next day.
No.
Nobody's ever like, things were headed sideways. But then I had that Malort and it just straightened everything right out. No.
I made good decisions after that. 100 of them.
Nope. Malort, because these pants won't shit themselves. Right? There's
Wasn't
a lot
that
of
officially the ad?
There's a bunch of them. There's Malort, because sometimes you need to unfriend somebody in person. Malort, because Dad, I never liked you anyway. Right. There's a lot of stuff.
Unfriend somebody in person.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
We found only 1 out of 49 men will drink Jeppson's Malort after the first shock glass. that was on the original Jeppson's Malort label. So they've obviously always known that they've had something crazy going on. Anyway, so that's the game. It tastes like pencil shavings and heartbreak. Malort tastes like fertilizer, except it doesn't grow on you. Imagine twisting damp socks after a heavy workout and squeezing the moisture into a bottle. Fill the bottle with that and let it ferment in a warm closet. Malort actually tastes like a baby aspirin wrapped in a grapefruit peel, bound with rubber bands, and then soaked in well gin. That's pretty good. Is probably not wrong.
And an old sock. You got to bring an old sock because it needs that musty, gross fucking thing.
If Malort isn't the liquid equivalent of a Chicago winter, I'm not really sure what is. Fair enough.
What the hell's a Nintendo Switch cartridge?
It's something you're not allowed to know about. Yeah. A stupid Chicago tradition. This is one of my favorite ones. This is a stupid Chicago tradition that has gone too far. This literally tastes like throw up. That is not an exaggeration. The aftertaste is just about the worst thing I've ever had in my mouth other than the aftertaste of vomit. It was the worst liquor I've ever had, and hopefully my review will save you from having to endure this stupid tradition. If somebody ever calls you unmanly...
Oh, for not drinking it?
Do you know where this came from?
No.
Binny's Beverage. The place where I have been sent to procure Malort on several occasions.
Yep. That's a hell of a story.
That is a hell of a story.
That's where Dan got our bottle. Dan got our bottle from Binny's when he also bought $2,700 worth of
this Malort tastes like a Nintendo Switch cartridge.
Kromke?
Yeah.
Kromke brought he got it from Binny's.
Yeah, this Malort tastes like somebody vomited up their gin and now you're drinking it from a shoe. What can you say about drinking Malort that hasn't already been said about drinking pesticide? It's like swallowing a burnt condom full of gas.
And on that note.
When you're putting your kids' shoes on and it's getting time to replace them, the way they smell is how Malort tastes. Yeah. What does a punch in the face taste like? Malort.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing. And so our podcast listener is sitting there going, this isn't that bad. No, it is that
It's
bad.
a trap. Don't do it.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Right? It's a trap. It's one of those things that you're right. In 100 years, some alien race is going to find us. And some alien race is going to be going like, bourbon. And they're going to drink it and they're going to be like, but they're going to be like, but everyone liked it. And there's sciences written and books written about it and everything else. And you go, okay, humans were weird. And they're going to go like hot sauce. And like, we have competitive hot sauce eating. Yeah. It's something that literally is a chemical warfare against your body. Here, eat this. Your sinuses will go inverted and your eyeballs will fall back in the inside of your head. You'll bleed from your ears. Ooh, it's hot. I get a t-shirt. Because we're dumb. Like our society's just stupid. But they're going to find a bottle of Malort, or they're going to find a dude with a tattoo from a bottle of Malort. And they're going to see the tattoo and they're going to see the bottle of Malort and one of them's going to taste it. And they're going to be convinced that guy was part of some strange underground slave class or that could only drink things that were filtered through 100 feet of peat,
Or they're going to find out that they love it and it's actually an alien drink.
Oh, that it was accidentally left here.
Yeah.
Some fucking knucklehead who's supposed to clean up after himself and leave no trace.
Right.
Left a case of that shit.
Yep.
His name's Jepson.
And old man Jepson found it and he was like, I can make some money on this.
Better than that, it's probably their fuel.
It is probably their fuel for their really shitty aircraft. Yeah,
it runs the generator on the backside.
That is it, and it's just right. It's actually probably the waste product of their vehicle. That's what I'm thinking at this point. I don't think it's actually anything good for anything. You're probably just drinking effluent.
But you know what? It probably would cure Rona.
It probably would cure Rona. Yeah, it probably would cure Rona.
Give it a try. Let us know.
I wonder. Since Chicago was this giant slaughterhouse, right? Mm-hmm. Think about that. Like at the period of time, Chicago was a giant slaughterhouse.
Yep. Sausage
there
factories.
Are many, many byproducts of the slaughterhouse industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. I heard a story once, and it's probably a rumor about Guinness, and when they'd cleaned out the vats that the Guinness was made in, many, many years later, there were dead rats in there. They'd found the bodies of dead rats that had fallen into these giant vats of Guinness.
Yep.
And Dropkick Murphys did a song about it called Good Rats. And
Yeah.
But some people had said that those rats were what gave Guinness its particular taste.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
Wasn't there a percentage
Allegedly.
of rat pee in Corona? Not the virus, but the beer.
the virus is totally free of rat pee. However, that awful drink, right. The world's inarguably one of my least favorite beers on the planet.
Right.
A beer that's so bad, you have to put a lime on the top of it.
Right.
To keep the flies from going into it, right? Because the lime keeps flies away. But flies are only attracted to bad stuff, usually. You know, flies' palate is not really great. So, yeah, if you got to use a lime to keep the insects out of your beer, it's probably not good beer.
No.
Again, here we go. Shandy. To the Market Garden, Shandy. Yay!
Pretty amazing.
All right.
So who's going to Cedar Point?
For what?
Anything.
Not I.
They're open tomorrow, right?
They're open tomorrow.
Not I.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Cedar
water
Point.
parks. You want to go sit?
Yeah, you want to go?
No.
I got a season pass. Last year, I bought the season pass during the crazy.
For like $30 or something, right?
It was the $100.
Yeah.
Gives you like a season pass for the end of last year.
Yep.
For all the Hollow weekends and shit. Free parking forever, like for the tour of the season pass. And then they announced that if you bought the season pass last year, it automatically got turned into a season pass for this year. And then when Corona hit, they said it automatically becomes a season pass for next year.
Oh, jeez.
So the season pass you bought last October is good for all of 2021.
Right.
And it's free parking too. So now I would go to Cedar Point just to use the bathroom because I'm parking for free and I might as well walk around and be at Cedar Point.
And if you're in the front of the coaster, you're just getting other people sick. You're cool.
Oh, yeah, you're
just
fine.
blowing
Exactly.
this one out
Just
there.
play like, isn't this ride great? Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine that the Cedar Point Splash City water park or that the Cedar Point, any of the rides whatsoever, not to mention the cattle
lines.
the cattle divining system that is the Cedar Point ride experience.
Blowing mist on you, which the mist then blows onto somebody else.
Yes, you're
It's
right.
like the coronavirus is like, sweet, they got fucking RTA here.
We have an automatic.
We can surf.
right.
Check this out. I have automatic aerosolization. This is awesome.
But they're totally going to clean it, like all the rides every time they do a loop, right?
Yeah, right.
Like wash everything down.
Sure, because that's going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we've discovered mostly, it's not that I can clean this glass and hand it to Chris. It's that when I'm handing the glass to Chris, we're close enough that he will now get the things that come out of my mouth at 30 miles an hour. And he can catch them in his mouth. Right. And that's how we do it. It's not this that's giving us the disease. It's this. It's the closeness. And that's why it's like right now we're able to keep our distances from each other and we're not screaming and yelling at the top of our lungs so much. We should probably get those big spit shields right in front of us.
Probably.
Well, we also made a gentleman's agreement many weeks ago that if anybody's sick, don't come in.
Oh, exactly.
Like even a couple days. Yeah. This guy.
And then there's this guy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. The oh boy. What if you're just old?
Oh shit! And think about this.
He's
what
not
beer
sick.
are we drinking?
He's just old.
He brought the beer. He probably licked every one of them.
Probably did.
Yeah.
That's it.
And the beer too.
Yeah. Well, I did. I did get that testing done, and so when I got the testing done, when they did the testing, they discovered that although my antigen count wasn't high enough to use my plasma as a means of treating other people, they did find that
They were able to get that one booger out of the back of your
they were.
nose.
They did get that. Been bothering me for years.
Look at this one. Holy
They
shit.
just stuffed that fucking thing all the way to the dome. They did the fucking Lucky the Pain-Proof Man trick on me.
You did. They got up there and you had like 47 ideas go. And you're like,
Exactly. I promise to never think about that ever again. Yeah.
I thought that was gone.
I thought that was gone. Wait a second. Maybe I did.
start speaking fluent Italian.
Exactly.
You're like, what the fuck's going on, man?
What? I can do algebra. Holy shit. It is not at all kidding when I tell you that the test that they did on me when they discovered the corona in my body, what they had learned was that the corona in my body was like the most intensely beaten down, ridiculously abused corona they'd ever seen.
Really?
Well, because I have a
They
notoriously
named it Porco.
I have a notoriously good immune system, and that's how I'm going to get. This is the irony is that I'm going to say this and then get corona and die.
Yeah.
But I have always been able to kick things real fast I've always been able to heal really quick. I've had a lot of broken bones, and they tend to heal real fast. And I'm convinced it's because of the nonstop stress that I put on my body through, conditioning.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. And I have just been lucky enough to just get that. Yeah.
You had a broken foot. Instead of doing anything about it, you just wore a motorcycle boot.
I did. I walked it off. Yeah, exactly.
So to speak.
Yeah. This is my friend. This is our friend Lucky, the pain-proof man, as he's doing the corona test there. So Lucky's doing the corona test on himself. Lucky does the Maggie's Farm stuff. And so he's one of our Pittsburgh guys. We met him in the scooter community. So you meet the nicest guys in the scooter community. But if you ever see Lucky's act, at the very end of Lucky's act, when he's shamelessly pandering for money, he will let you staple he'll let you staple money to him using a staple gun. And I think Jesse Noblet was able to staple a $5 to his face with a standard Black & Decker traditional staple gun. So yeah, but Lucky's game for that. He's legit. But also one of just a fantastic tikiologist. Like he's a real mixologist. He's a good dude.
Screwdriver.
So yeah, Lucky's legit. He's the man. But he's a fun guy to have around if you ever want to have a. And plus, he's just
guaranteed to break the ice at parties.
Yeah, but he brings his own props. So when he does his act, he drinks a quart of motor oil in the act.
That'll keep the mail.
He'll do cinder blocks. Yeah, exactly. He'll do cinder blocks on his chest and let you smash him with a hammer and whatnot. He's a hell of a showman. He does the broken glass thing, and he's legit. I mean, he's a real good sideshow act, and just a fantastic human being. So look up Lucky the Pain-Proof Man. Good times every single time you're around Lucky, and if you happen to be lucky enough to be sitting across the bar from him, and he's mixing drinks, game on, buddy. Yeah. Fantastic bartender. So yeah, good dude. Generally, just fantastic. And there he is with a blunderbuss and a bottle of booze. Good for you, Lucky. But he's one of those dudes that I learned about practicing for the corona test.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I got myself one of those real long spikes and cleaned it up real good and made sure to lube it up. And I practiced for my corona test. And you know what? Yeah. So there's that's what your goal is right there. If you're doing it that way, you're doing it right. So if you're not doing it that way, you might give yourself a brain injury or forget things you didn't mean to forget. Yeah. Where do I live? It's the.
Who am I?
Yeah. I can tell you, if you hit the back of your head really, really hard against the ice, you will forget where you live. Yeah. And what kind of car you drive too, because I couldn't find my car. I was looking at all these cars and I was like, which one of these is mine? And I was like, there was one car that had a big Vespa sticker on the back, and I was like, that's probably my car.
I've always been a helmet guy.
Yeah.
But this is like 98, 97, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I decided I really wanted to get good at wheelies, so I bought this three-wheeler. And I'm like, three-wheelers are great because they have two back wheels.
They
it's
do.
Great.
They can't fall to the left.
I got on it, and it was a 200 axle Honda, whatever. Yep. And so I hit the thumb throttle, and the front wheel came up a little bit. And first I was like, oh, man. I should go put a helmet on. I'm like, but that was so easy. Let me do it again.
Oh,
and so I whacked it again, and I went straight back, noggin to the pavement, and I woke up about 7 hours later, and the fucking three-wheeler was still in first gear going down this field. It's just like, way away from
what the fuck?
Just, But you're not kidding, man. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was. My bell was rung.
Clearly, it's like you didn't even know this. It's the reset button.
Yeah, it's fucking
the
weird,
reset
man.
button for your brain is like right behind the medulla oblongata. Yeah. Like when you hit that hard enough, it's just like do over.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I really was struggling.
You could marry a different person. Like there's any number of shit you could get away with because nothing. Yeah. I looked at my phone and went, oh boy. And all I did was, it was a long time ago, so the phones didn't flip or anything. And I saw a button that said home. I went, well, that sounds like a winner. So I hit that button and a woman picked up and I said, hello. Hi. I said, do we still live in Pine Tree? And she goes, we haven't lived there in years.
Oh, no.
And I went, okay. She went, what the fuck? Are you all right? And I was like, well, I hit my head snowboarding. And she's like, I'm coming to get you right now.
Yeah.
And I said, no, it's okay. I'm cool. I'm just gonna lay down for a little while and relax. And she's like, I'm coming to get you right now. And I was just like, I don't know what her name is. It just said home. Yeah. It could have been my mother, right? It could have been anybody. It was a dead fucking reset on my brain. Jeez. Again, I only found my car because it had a Vespa sticker in the back of it. And that was in my lizard brain. So like, who else would have a Vespa sticker? And I did make it. I walked out to the parking lot and managed to find that. But I did. So I escaped from the ski patrol. Like I went back very quietly and grabbed all my shit and snuck out and got in this van, turned it on, and called my wife back. And I said, we were dating at the time. I was like, so can you talk me home from the ski center, And she's like, I'm just going to come and get you. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. You just talk me home.
Dude, I worked at Brandywine. Yeah. What you're saying, like you escaped from the ski patrol, you escaped from 9 stone, 21-year-old kids.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But they were all trying to help me within an inch of my life. Yeah, they were definitely. They had a lot of gear they had to prove that they knew how to use. Yeah. But again,
the little fanny packs opened up.
Oh my God. I heard the zip of like 9 zips going at the same time. They did put me in that sled thing.
Oh yeah. That's fun.
And because when I came to, I was in the sled. So I was in the sled and I was like, oh, that's unusual. Because they had the neck brace thing on me and everything else.
Let me guess, was this when Brandywine decided to build a half pipe, but they didn't know what they were doing, so they froze water?
Yeah.
And it was just ice?
Yeah, it was just pure ice.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was pure ice. Yeah, it was just one of those things is like, but again, if you ski in Ohio, if you ski in Cleveland,
you know about ice.
You know about ice and gravel and like, you're like, oh, look, I'm skiing. And you're like, no, you're not skiing. Wait, just give it a second. Yeah. No, you're buying a new snowboard. That's what you're doing. Yeah, you're literally grinding everything off the bottom of your deck. It's just the way it works. So yeah, that's about it. Anybody got anything else? No, dude, I think that's it. I would just say the last week's video looked great.
Yeah, we tried.
It worked good.
Yeah,
it came out okay, and hopefully this one's going to work too.
Well, it didn't shut off.
It didn't shut off, and that's a good thing. And nobody kicked the cord out, so I'd say we're looking awesome.
We were out of practice.
Days of wine and roses, as far as I'm concerned. We're looking pretty good. If we can just be back to like being off color and like being just dumb jokes, I think that's fine. I'm totally okay with that without having you to do heroic editing. Yeah.
That did suck. That last one was interesting, and like the funny part is that at one point that had shut off.
And then at the other point, that had shut off.
And I'm like, oh God, but somehow it didn't happen where they both shut off.
No, they were not both off at the same time. So if you're watching the video, you can see where the disaster strikes. Yeah. It's a very funny thing. Like,
and the best part was Nick, and I put a graphic up. Yeah. Because Nick's like, when the thing goes off, he's like, don't worry, the audio from this will save the podcast.
Exactly.
Jokingly, right?
Jokingly.
But it saved
it. It saved the fucking podcast. And Nick was mostly making fun of you for your evangelical appreciation of the GoPro audio.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. Because everyone else is like, these things sound like shit.
Yep.
And meanwhile, you've saved how many podcasts with that audio?
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Yeah. Forget all the board and all the microphones. Sometimes that little, and the microphone in there is the size of a gnat's left testicle. Yeah. Like there's no microphone on the planet that's smaller than that.
And it's catching everything.
I really don't understand how it does it.
I don't either.
But here's the weird part. Yeah. You put it on a fucking motorcycle everywhere else, and it goes...
Yeah.
No matter what. Right. It's sitting right there. It's fucking beautiful.
Pretty brilliant, yeah. And it is, seriously, you're like, well, when people are talking about, like, this guy was a spy, and he did this, and he had this ballpoint pen that, there was a microphone, and everything else. And now you're like, the microphone for that could literally pass through your vascular system. Mm-hmm. And like, end up in one of your, like, capillaries and just be like, that's where it lives now.
And so since this is publicly available and affordable, that was probably high tech in 72. Yeah. Like that's what got Nixon or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Right. A microphone that looked like a flower. No, it was actually a microphone that looked like a telephone. Right. It's like, we've hidden a microphone inside of this telephone. But isn't there already a microphone in that telephone? Yeah, but this one captures secrets. Yeah. This is another microphone other than the microphone that's already in the telephone.
Think about that. Yeah. They didn't just like hack into a phone call. They bugged phones.
So they literally went into a room that already had a microphone in it.
Put another one in there.
And put a bunch more microphones in it because of redundancy and like a whole lot of microphones was the answer. Right. And, they take apart these buildings 20 years later and find all this ancillary wiring in there. Yep. And you're like, what the actual shit?
Well, that's what. Did you ever see? They just had that documentary hit from DeLorean.
Yeah.
And they had all the. And so they showed DeLorean getting busted.
Yeah.
And it was like the quality was so terrible.
Oh my Jesus Christ. I've seen Martian porn that looks better filmed from Earth than the DeLorean video that put the man in jail.
Yeah.
You'd think they would have spent more than 75 cents on the Fisher Price My First Video camera thing.
And the angle's like on the floor. I was looking up at the guys like you can't see shit.
Again, this is where it was. This was cops in leisure suits. Too much polyester and way too much cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, how much cocaine do we need in the suitcase to bust John DeLorean? Just enough to prove it's cocaine. Okay, cool. Yeah. Where are you going to put the camera? I don't know. Where'd the fucking camera go, dude? I don't know where the fucking camera. I don't know where the camera is. So I fucking do this thing.
Are you doing the cocaine? No, I'm just smelling it. Right. It's fun.
Quality control. We got to prove it's cocaine. Fucking hell. All right. We don't have these problems today, dude. Ride fast and take chances. Press the red button. Press the red button.